So the Euros are already hotting up and Italy are just underway. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to the S1E12. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So we've already had a few games of the Euros 2024. Germany emphatic win against Scotland 5-1. Very impressive Switzerland against Hungary 3-1. Spain looking very, very comfortable against Croatia 3-0. Then Italy step up to the plate. And you would think, well, they should be beating Albania quite comfortably. But let's be under no illusions here. Albania topped their qualification group. They've got some decent players. And within 23 seconds, a new record for the Euros, they shocked the world, or they certainly shocked the Italians anyway, by scoring a goal. A silly mistake by DiMarco from Italy, throw in, tried to go back to the keeper, tried to go back to one of the defenders who's on the 6-yard box, didn't get there. Albanian Brahmi just got in there and just whacked it home. It was a very decent finish, but that shocked the Italians into gear really, and they just came at Albania. It was a great performance in the first half. Got 2 goals, a header from Bastoni, and then a sublime goal from Barella as well. So Italy first half came back, were strong, and were dominant. Second half they were still dominant, but they just kind of took their foot off the gas, really, and just let Albania come at them a little bit. It was a bit too easy. They were just playing possession football, Italy, but they had chances, but they weren't really clinical in front of goal. You know, they could have scored 4 or 5, there's no doubt. But at the same time, it just wasn't as intense as the first half. So what does this mean going forward? Well, we still got all the other teams to play, all the other nations to play, of course. But of the ones that we've seen so far, you could argue that Germany looked the most impressive because they won 5-1. But you got to say, well, Scotland's tactics in that game weren't that great either. So it's hard to gauge. But Spain looked decent against Croatia, but Croatia were just all open defensively. Who I think is a real dark horse in this tournament, and I've kind of said it in previous months as well, is Switzerland. Switzerland look very, very accomplished. And if you look at Switzerland in the last sort of 10, 15 years, coming out of the Fridays and then into sort of present day, they just got better and better and better, and they are a real threat. And Italy have had some problems with Switzerland in the past as well, and so they're a very decent team and one to be aware of. But what about Italy? Where do they go from here? Well, if judging on the first half alone, you would think that actually they've got a decent chance of progressing. If you judge it on the second half, then you kind of think, no, nothing. There's no way they're going to be able to get out of the group. So if we look at the next game, Italy against Spain, 2 arch rivals, 2 arch enemies in many ways, as some of the tussles and bust-ups they've had in the past. Who can forget? Who can forget to the World Cup in 1994, of course, in the semi-finals, wasn't it? So it's going to be a game to look forward to. But judging on the 2 performances so far, I'd say you've got to side with Spain. So Spain seem to be the stronger team going into it. But if Italy can get this tactically right, it could be a great victory. But is it likely that Italy are going to get a result on this? I'm not sure. I mean, the squad in terms of their players and squad depth looks pretty decent. No out-and-out stars there, but as a squad, but as a body of players under Spalletti, who won this area with Napoli last season or the season before last, he's come in short notice. Just a handful of games, got Italy qualified, and look, they look like a team. Spalletti likes to play in the front foot. He likes to go after teams as well. So this will be a very interesting game. Italy against Spain in the next group game. But tonight is a night for English fans who've taken on Serbia as well. So, well, we'll see what happens there. But you would imagine the tournament favourites, I will put tournament favourites at England, should come away quite comfortably against Serbia. But let us know your thoughts on that. But we're just getting underway with the Euros, and it does appear that the teams who are going on the front foot, going on the offensive, wanting to get into the opposition half and certainly get into the penalty area, the ones who want to be positive are the ones who are coming away with the goals and obviously coming away with the wins as well. If you take Italy, for example, their first half performance was very much characteristic of that. Okay, yes, ignoring their 23-second conceding from Albania, but their first half performance was very much on the front foot. A high press. It was definitely taking the game to the opposition. And if the other nations competing can play in the same way, then we're in for one hell of a tournament. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Well, after the next set of games, I'm sure. Ta-da! Football has just gone into hyperdrive. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Tommy Edson. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, football has just kind of gone into hyperdrive the last few days with some big news coming at us. So, let's dig into it. Mbappe is leaving PSG. There's also been a bit of handbags at dawn, it appears, over the last year as well, with him and the club. Things hasn't been great behind the scenes, but he's going to Real Madrid. He's reportedly going to be on over £500,000 a week. £500,000 a week. It could be 600, 650, depending on all the other add-ons, because he's going to get money from image rights and shirt sales and all that kind of stuff. This is absolutely insane. He's on a 5-year deal there. He's getting over £12 million a year, and also he's getting a sign-on bonus of something in the region of about 120 million as well. I mean, it's just absolute bonkers. But there we go. So Mbappe to Real Madrid. Now, here's the question. How good are Real Madrid going to be with Mbappe? I mean, wouldn't it be funny, really, if he went there and he was a complete flop? I don't think he is, but it's a lot of money to pay, of course, just for one player. And this is not the first time big money's been paid for one player, of course. But I think he's got to be... I mean, there's no transfer fee on this, so he won't be breaking any transfer records. But in terms of, he's got to be the highest paid footballer, right? Or maybe not, especially when you consider Ronaldo going to Saudi Arabia. Maybe not. So it's a lot of money. He's, what, 25, 26, and we go to Real Madrid? Yeah, I mean, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with again, aren't they? I mean, they've just won the Champions League. They won the La Liga. Carlo Ancelotti, what do we think of Carlo Ancelotti? Is he really the best manager that there's ever been? You're kind of comparing him to Fergie, you're kind of comparing him to Pep Guardiola, but I think he's actually won more. He's certainly won more European titles than them as player and as coach. So yeah, he's kind of right up there, isn't he, in terms of the best that's ever been. But look, there's some other massive news from the managerial front. Jose Mourinho, he's gone to Turkey. He's gone to Fenerbahce. And what a character he is as well. And he's going to bring the noise to them, and I'm sure they're going to bring the noise to him as well. So he's back in the mix, and he's basically come out in his press conference saying, "I am not taking any players whatsoever from Roma. I don't want any of those players." So God knows what they've said to him at Roma, or what some of the players have said. I thought there was quite a good relationship with some of those players, but obviously not. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of players that come into Fenerbahce and how they're going to fare in the domestic league. But really, we know what Jose Mourinho is all about. It's about European competition as well. And traditionally, the Turkish sides haven't really gone that far in the European competition, certainly not on a consistent basis. So you would think, well, they're going to be in the Champions League next season because they finished second in the league. How far can he take them? And that's the thing. If they were probably in a Europa League or in a Conference League, then you would probably give him a lot more of a chance of winning a European trophy. But a Champions League with Fenerbahce, I don't think. If he gets past the quarterfinals, I think you've done very well. The other big managerial appointment has been Antonio Conte. He's gone to Napoli. Now, what you got to understand about Napoli, Napoli is like a country in itself in terms of the way the rest of Italy regard Naples and the way the Neapolitans, the Napolitani, where they regard the rest of Italy as well. They kind of are their own entity. So the further there is going to be absolutely intense. They won the league 2 seasons ago. Obviously, they didn't win the league last season. A kind of disappointing campaign, really, for them, really. So now they've got Conte, who's got going to bring a lot of passion. He thinks it's a fantastic job. So we'll see how he does that. I mean, it's going to be a tough ask. It's going to be a tough job just to get them to the very top. But yeah. Interesting times for Napoli fans. Interesting times for Conte as well. And we're still waiting to hear about Eric Ten Hag at Manchester United, whether he's still going to have a job. Many of the teams right now are releasing a lot of their players. They're all releasing some of the players that just haven't done well, some of the academy players, that kind of thing. We've got some teams who are releasing lists of players that they're keeping as well. So obviously we're in the transfer market, the window now, so there's going to be lots of to and fro over the next couple of months. Let's not forget the big distraction, that is the Euros, which is coming in, a couple of weeks. We're just going through some international friendlies right now. England played the other night. They beat Bosnia 3-0. All the other nations were in action as well. The one that I was really focused on, because I'm an Italian supporter, Italy against Turkey in a disappointing 0-0 draw for Italy and for Turkey. Actually, both teams probably would want to come away with a win and certainly being able to score some goals there. We'll have to see what happens in the subsequent games. So there's another round of games this coming weekend as well. So I believe England are playing on Saturday, Italy are playing on Sunday, and then obviously it's final preparations for the Euros. So we'll start in a couple of weeks' time. I mean, I still believe that England have the best chance of winning the competition. I still think they're a little lopsided in terms of their weaknesses in defence, not defensive midfield, because I think they've got probably one of the best defensive midfielders in the world, which is of course Declan Rice, but I think from the midfield going forward, I think they're a force, especially if everybody is playing. There's lots of comments being made after the England game from some of the fans saying, well, they didn't play all the best players, they didn't play all the top players. Well, you don't have to. These are friendlies first of all, and you've got to try out other players as well. But also, the likes of Bellingham has just come off a Champions League final. There's you don't have to play them all. I would expect Bellingham to play in the next game England will be playing. So they're playing Iceland, so yeah, you would expect an England win there as well. And then they've got the opener against Serbia on the 16th of June, I believe. So yes, less than 2 weeks away now, and yeah, it's ramping up. So we've got managerial comings and goings already. We've got players that are starting to come and go, clubs starting to put the hammer down and make their choices. We got Maresca that's just gone to Chelsea. Let's see what they do next season. Slot has gone into Liverpool as well as manager. It's almost like there's been a lot of managerial changes this season, more than I can remember in a long time. Certainly at the big clubs, and then we're going to be seeing, well, what players can they bring in and how are they going to fare next season? You would imagine the likes of Mbappe going to Real Madrid can only make them so much stronger, so much better. But sometimes these things just don't work out the way you think. So we'll see. It'd be interesting to see in the La Liga how Barcelona and the likes of Atletico Madrid, how they respond as well. Barcelona have got their new manager as well, Hansi Flick. So yeah, let's see how they respond and can they close the gap on Real Madrid. And well, take La Liga and obviously do a lot better in Europe as well than they have been of late. So the European leagues seem to be ramping up. I suppose the biggest surprise of the managerial merry-go-round this time round has obviously been Company going to Bayern Munich. I mean, he was like eighth choice, 11th choice. It's a bit of a strange decision, that one, for Bayern Munich. They could have gone for some top managers with a lot of pedigree and a lot of reputation and a track record as well, but they've gone with Company. So I'm not so sure about that. I think a lot of people are scratching their heads there. I know you would imagine a lot of the Burnley fans are a bit hacked off that he's gone and sort of left him in the lurch. They've been relegated as well, so they'll be looking for a new manager. But hey, good luck to him. Good luck to him at Bayern Munich. They're a great side. They've got a lot going for them. They probably underachieved, definitely under Tuchel last season. But they got to the Champions League semi-finals, and they were pipped to the post by Leverkusen, of course, in the league, who just had one of those amazing seasons, of course. And of course, coming back to the domestic Premier League here, now we've got shenanigans going on with Manchester City suing the Premier League. This has just come out in the last day or so, and what's going to happen there? This is all going to sort itself out in the coming month or so. Then we've also got the still outstanding charges against Manchester City from the FA. It's heating up, that's for sure, and we'll have to see, who can survive. Some are already stating that maybe the Premier League might not even be able to stick around in its current form. I think that's highly unlikely. It's more likely that they're going to have to change the rules. They're going to have to modify certain things. There might be some concessions made for any sort of breaches that Man City have made. I mean, who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that. But it's not a good look. That's all I'm going to say. It's not a good look for the Premier League. It's not a good look for the industry as a whole, and certainly for Manchester City, who are their name is embroiled with this, time and time again for different reasons, of course. But it's not the kind of thing that you want to associate with your club, is it? Really, you kind of just want to talk about football. You don't want to be talking about irregularities or having to sue the league in which you're playing and also which you contribute to. It's bonkers, really. But there we go. Listen, so this is what's been going on in the football world. I mean, let us know your thoughts of these managerial appointments and some of the big signings that are already starting to happen, or all the rumours of big signings as well. And if you've got a player at your club that is leaving or staying, let us know as well. Tell us your thoughts of who you would like to come to your club, and if you already have signed a player, let us know. And if a manager has come to your club or left, let us know as well. It's always good to hear the other side's point of view. So these are just observations from me. I think they're very exciting managerial appointments. A lot of people talk about Mourinho, for example, in terms of negative terms. I always think, at least for a couple of seasons, he's really good value in terms of entertainment, in terms of bringing the attention to a club. And I think that's what he's doing. And he's already said, it could be a good thing or a bad thing in terms of the attention I bring to a club. But, there's definitely going to be fireworks wherever he is, that's for sure. And let's just see if does the quality of football will entertain, which it doesn't usually do that, but can he bring them trophies? Can he bring them the league title, which is going to be really important? Can he win the Turkish Cup? Obviously, that's going to be secondary to the league, you would have thought. But how far can he take them in Europe? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now. Gareth Southgate is gone. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Me Edson. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, Gareth Southgate has resigned. He is gone out of here. Now, for some people, it couldn't have come too soon. For other people, they wanted him to stay on a lot longer. So what has been the problem with Gareth Southgate in charge of England? Obviously, they got through to the final, right? 2 successive finals in the Euros. That's nothing to be sniffed at. Another semi in the World Cup, a quarter-final in the World Cup as well. So he goes down as one of England's greatest ever managers in terms of record. But what are we talking about in terms of greatest, and what are we talking about in terms of success? Yes, he got through to a quarter-final, as many times before, many other managers have done before. But semi-finals and to finals, yes, he got that. But it wasn't exactly convincing in many cases. And at the final moment where you wanted a manager to be positive, to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, as it were, to rally the players, to have some kind of tactical know-how to go after a team who are kind of under pressure, he kind of just stepped back and he didn't really urge those players. Now, from the FA point of view, he's the ideal man. He's the company man, as it were. He's been in charge for 8 years. He's been in the FA, 12 years, through his previous roles as well, with the 21s and the 19s and things as well. So, he's come through that process, the whole FA process. And for me, he was too much of an FA spokesman on issues not relating to the England team. And we've seen it time and time again. But for the FA, they love that. They love Gareth Southgate being an Englishman who was able to talk and was able to field questions that were not strictly about football. And I've got a feeling a lot of this was distracting. A lot of this was distracting us, the football fans out there, if you're an England fan, to what his main role was. His main role was to get in charge of the team, put a team together, squad together that could challenge. Well, he certainly did that, but he kind of had a lot of luck all the way along. There was a lot of luck in his play. There was a lot of luck in the performances, especially at these Euros. Lots of luck. It wasn't by design. Yes, they had late finishes, late winners, but, it shouldn't be down to a late winner, especially when you've been playing poor all game. If you've been playing great all game and you just couldn't get that goal, and then you come on with a late winner, then you can say, well, the tactics were right. You could see what the tactics were, and it was offensive, it was aggressive, we were closing down. Yeah, the goal was going to come, and eventually it came, but it was never like that. It was kind of last minute thing. The Bellingham overhead kick, a last minute, 30 seconds from going out. In the group stage wasn't great. We had minutes here that was good play, but most of the time it was a team without a plan, without an identity, without a proper tactical setup. And time again, this is not just a Southgate thing. This is England managers from the past. You're trying to put players into positions which they don't play, or you're trying to have similar players of equal standing, let's say equal quality, have them in the same team when they all play the same position. For me, that is where Southgate has failed his role as an England manager. Because as an international manager, you've got to look at all the players that you've got, but you've always got to consider the team. Now, many people have been talking about Italy and the last Euro campaign, and also Spain here. They're saying that they weren't great teams. Well, Spain, I thought, were actually really good, but they weren't great, as in the all-time greats. Well, they don't need to be the all-time greats. What they need to do is play as a team, and they played as a team, whereas England didn't. Now, arguably, you could say that England have got the best players. Yes, I would say that overall as a squad, England should be doing a lot better because they've got the best players, but they're just not playing as a team. And then when you've got a manager in charge who's not willing to drop certain players or trying to put all the best players onto the pitch at the same time, even if they're not in their right positions, then it was doomed to fail. It was doomed to get to a point where England came up against a team they could actually play and play them really well, and could beat them. Now, if you ask my opinion, my humble opinion, is that England should have got out of this tournament maybe at the group stage, or possibly just in the first knockout stage at round 16. That's when they should have gone out. That's the level at which they were playing. They weren't playing good enough to get past to Germany, to even get past to France. You know, let's say Italy were a disaster in this Euros, right? They were terrible. But when Italy played Switzerland in the round of 16, they were missing a vital new player in defence, Calafiori. So he was suspended, and essentially that's why they lost. They just weren't robust enough in defence. If England had played Italy, how bad Italy were, I still think England would have lost. I think they would have lost against Italy. That's how poor I think England have been. They've just been so disjointed. They had moments where it's great, but those moments came when you had players coming on and just getting a little bit of time. The problem with Southgate is the manner management, the in-game management, and also making those tough decisions, those ruthless decisions that a manager needs to make. It's not about appeasing. It's not about making everybody your friend. It's not about, oh, right, yeah, we got the best players. I want you to play. And Harry Kane, I know you're injured, yeah, but we're going to keep you putting in there. Or if I'm going to play you with a little bit of a niggle, I need to support you with other players, other runners. He didn't do that. Whole left side was totally, it's just non-existent. Yeah, Trippier there, that's not his position because Luke Shaw's been injured. Luke Shaw should, if he wasn't there fit enough right from the very start, he shouldn't have been there. And he was only good for a first half in the final anyway. So, he really shouldn't have been in the squad. You should have had at least a proper left back there as a backup. You should have been playing Anthony Gordon there. Should have been playing Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right-hand side instead of Kyle Walker, who had a bit of a stinker. You should have mixed it up with the players. Swapped in Saka for Bowen at times, or Cole Palmer at times. Bring on these other players. Make more positive substitutions. Go after teams. When England scored against Spain in the final, I thought the momentum would swing so much towards England that it was a foregone conclusion that England were going to win. Spanish heads dropped. There was about 5, 6, 7 minutes, 10 minutes where Spain weren't ready at the races. That was the time for England just to go on and go and win the game. But they didn't. They just sat back. So this is a cultural thing. This is a cultural thing under Southgate. Not only going after teams, being more attack-minded, but going for the killer shot, being more ruthless in the way he makes his decisions and the way he would select his team, select the squad. And also the whole culture of the FA. The FA about appointing like a yes man in many ways in Southgate. This is not to say that he hasn't had success, but he's had success on the back of having some fantastic players. Whereas you look at other managers, international managers of the past, they may have had mediocre players or pretty good players, but they've achieved great things. Also, similar managers have managed international teams and they've dropped their biggest stars. They've dropped their biggest players. They've made tough decisions. They've changed on the fly from game to game. They've had to, rework things. They've had to take players out and bring new players in. They're not usually playing players out of position just to get them in the team. Because it is about the team. It is about the balance. It's not about a collection or a collective of great players. It's about having great players that work in a team, that work in a system. And Southgate couldn't do that. So what happens now? Well, for me, he's done the right thing, stepped down. You've got to commend him on what he achieved, no doubt. But there were frailties there. There were deficiencies there. And that's why England failed to win in 2 Euros finals, especially against Italy. They really should have beaten Italy then. But they let that one slip. In this one, they had the opportunity to go after Spain and go for the win, and he just failed again. But they were lucky to get to the final in the first place. So, what happens now? What happens now? Who do England get? If they get another yes man that's going to be the mouthpiece of the FA, that's completely wrong for me. They need to get either another English manager, and for me, it's only Eddie Howe, really, that I would say. Maybe Graham Potter that could go in there as well. That forward-thinking modern managers. But really, I mean, the talk has already started about trying to get Jurgen Klopp in, getting the best managers out there who might be available, who might want to manage England. It'd be very interesting to see what their decision-making process would be now, who they're going to go for, and what the next manager can do to get this elite group of players, which they are, and on paper they should be the best team in Europe, but certainly possibly even the world, to get a song out of them, to actually play as a team and having free-flowing football, attacking wing play, players that run off Harry Kane if you're going to have him in the team, or have the stones to drop Harry Kane and just put Tony and put Watkins up front there. Change the system. Personally, I think they should have gone for a 4-5-1 as a defensive setup or a 3-5-2 as an attacking setup. I would have had Gordon on the left. I would have had Saka on the right or Bowen on the right. I would have had Rice in the middle with Bellingham next to him. And then I would have had Foden in front, but change out with Palmer if you need to. Then I would have had Kane up front, and I would have had Watkins alongside him. That's the way I would have set up. I would have had Trent on the right, Stones in the middle, and then whoever on the left, either Luke Shaw if he was fit, or Trippier if he was going to be there, or maybe even just keep Gay or Kwanzaa there as well on that left-hand side. Because you've got Gordon coming up and down, bombing up and down, that could do a defensive role as well. It was there for the taking. It was there for the taking for England to win the Euros, and they didn't do it. And this comes down to, yes, the players didn't perform, but this is also mostly about the team selection, the squad selection, who Southgate decided to take, and the in-game management. And that's where he failed, and that's why he had to go. Now you've got to see the next manager coming in, if he can turn that whole mindset around. Can he make England a free-flowing team? Can he put the right players in the right positions? Can he sacrifice some players, keep them on the bench? That kind of thing. You don't want an England manager who's going to be the players' best friend. You want an England manager who demands respect and who demands performances and will give them a game plan to go and play. That's what England need. They don't need a yes man. They don't need a manager who's going to be the mouthpiece of the FA. They need a manager who sticks to football, who sticks to managing England and managing England affairs. First team, men's team. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to talk about anything else. That's what the manager needs to be. Who's it going to be? Who knows? It could be anybody. Eddie Howe, Graham Potter, Jurgen Klopp. People are talking about Pep. Oh, let's bring back Mourinho. He'll do it. I mean, some of the names are a bit ridiculous, of course, but whoever they get, they need to take this group of players and fulfill their potential. And under Southgate, I don't think that was ever going to happen. He might have won something, but it kind of would have been by luck rather than design. And we need a manager there who's going to go in there and by design bring success. And however you grade success, that's going to be another thing. But for me, success is winning something. Success, yes, England have raised the bar, but that's not necessarily down to Southgate. That's also down to the generation of players that are playing in really top flight teams all around Europe. And they are really high quality players, where you can look at lots of other teams around the world, but certainly around Europe and nations, and a lot of their players aren't that great, and the teams just have been quite poor. Italy being a notable example there. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But Southgate is gone. He's gone for good. Who are they going to get next? Let us know your thoughts. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again in another video coming very soon. Bye now. So the football season about to start, and who is in pole position? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Tommy Edson. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So it is in the English Premier League, a week before the season. It is Charity Shield or Community Shield weekend. Manchester City against Manchester United. Well, the bookies seem to be favouring Man United, but let's just see how that goes. It's kind of an inconsequential game, but it's almost a little bit for bragging rights. kind of favour Man United in this game, but who really cares? Personally, I'm off to the Celta Vigo against West Ham game tomorrow in the Betway Cup. This is probably the last year that West Ham are going to be sponsored by Betway. They've had a bit of a falling out as well. So, hey, let's just see who the new sponsor of West Ham will be for next season. The season starts proper next weekend. And who is in pole position to, well, have a good start of the season? Well, you've got to go with the likes of Arsenal and Manchester City, who many are favouring to be the top two teams in the league. Liverpool probably going to be there with their new manager, Arne Slot, as well. Manchester United, let's see how they do with their background setup. Still, Ten Hag still in charge as well. Many think that he won't even make it until December. You've got to see how the other teams will fare in terms of Aston Villa, let's say, who did remarkably well last season. Tottenham as well. Chelsea came on strong as well. Lots of changes behind the scenes. It's interesting that Maresca for Chelsea is already coming under pressure for their kind of pretty indifferent or not very good pre-season games, but they've been taking on big teams as well. West Ham, for example, they went over to United States playing this stateside cup, lost a couple of games. New manager, Lopetegui, in there as well. But in terms of who's making the noise right now of many of the teams, many, as well as myself, because as I'm a West Ham fan, are looking at West Ham United because they're making some very decent signings. Not some kind of marquee signings that everybody's thinking, oh, wow, that's a delicious. Oh, no. These are just very decent players. And maybe some of the players are going out, but some of the players are coming in and they're thinking, wow, yeah, where are West Ham going to go this season? West Ham have been very inconsistent in recent years. They had some great highs, but some lows as well, especially in the league. Lopetegui is coming just to kind of shore that up a little bit, give us more consistency, and give us some more attacking, entertaining football, which is what we want to see, which is what every fan in the land of any team wants to see. And we want to see attacking, we want to see entertaining football, but we don't want to see naive football either as well. It has to be a balance as well. And we're hoping that's what Lopetegui will bring us. We want to see something more adventurous that David Moyes couldn't bring us. But many people out there are looking at West Ham with these signs and thinking, hold on, what are West Ham going to do this season? Because, as I say, they're not sort of marquee signings. They're very good, solid signings. And if we cut a few of the players that haven't really been performing to the level that we ever expected, bring these players in, hopefully get some kind of continuity there. Yeah, no, got a tough start against Aston Villa, no doubt. And it might take a while for these players to bed in. But compared to some of the other teams out there, there seemed to be a bit more noise about West Ham this season. Whereas in previous seasons, they were making lots of signings, let's say, but nobody was really convinced by it. This time, there seems to be a bit more consensus out there amongst fans, amongst YouTubers, let's say, amongst commentators. I think that this could be a decent start for West Ham. So whilst they're not going to be top six, in my opinion, they could settle in for a 7th or an 8th or a solid 7th and maybe just break into a top 6 this season. Again, we're not even at the start of the season, of course. So, there's a long way to go. But based on the signings and the signings they're making, they've been very busy and they've gone out with full intent. Whereas some of the other teams, they've probably been a bit more tentative so far. And they haven't been making lots of noise in terms of the overall quality of their signings and the comings and goings in the team. Look, it's, as I say, every team is going to be trying to put themselves in the best possible position to start the season. I think West Ham have done that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, but are you hopeful for the season ahead? Whichever league it is, I'm talking obviously in England right now, but whichever league it is, whichever team it is, it's not an issue really. Just because I've been talking about West Ham and their signings, it could be any team. This is not a West Ham video, it's more an observation of the kind of signings that they've been making compared to other teams out there. But how are you feeling about the chances ahead? I'm kind of hopeful, but I'm not totally convinced, I've got to say, especially with the pre-season games games that we've seen so far. It'd be interesting to see tomorrow at Celta Vigo at the London Stadium how West Ham do, how they square up. I'll try and do a little vlog from there as well, and see how we play, how we shape up. I'm not really interested in the result either. It's more about how we're playing and the shape. And then going into the Villa game the weekend after, as the season starts, let's see that happen. And this is my take on pre-season friendlies as well. They really should be about setting up fitness, setting up systems, setting up communication and organisation. It's less about the result, really. And I think maybe in recent years, especially when teams have gone on tour to the United States or to other countries, it becomes more about, oh, these are crucial games. They're not crucial games. They're tune-up games. That's what they're supposed to be about. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below about the whole pre-season process, about signings, about your desires for the coming season ahead. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And well, if you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future video, and check out my vlog at the game tomorrow, and I'll catch you again. Bye now. Is it time to scrap the Nations League? I mean, let's face it, the price is too high. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to me, Ed Son. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So we're in the middle of the Nations League. It's just about to wrap up with the final games. England playing Finland tonight. As there have been some interesting results up there. Italy got 2 wins out of 2. Who knew that Italy were going to beat France 3-1? They came away with a 2-1 win away to an empty stadium at Israel last night as well. Germany come off 2 wins. Spain had 1 emphatic win and 1 draw as well. So the interesting games out there and some interesting results. I mean, my pre-Nations League international break predictions were all wrong. So there we go. It just shows how much I know. But really, this video is about the price is too high for clubs. And I just got a feeling that really the thoughts that I had about the Nations League when it first came out, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe more than that now, 6, 7 years ago, whatever it was. I just thought we shouldn't be doing it. We shouldn't be having this Nations League. It's a waste of time. It's just creating too many games and also too many risks to players as well. So I'm just going to read you a couple of players that, well, English clubs are now going to be missing. Calafiori, Arsenal. He might be out for a few weeks. Not sure how long. Fulkrug from West Ham. He might be out for a few weeks now, maybe even longer. It's apparently an Achilles problem that he picked up in training for Germany as well. There are numerous other players that have sustained injuries. Now, this is nothing new, of course. I mean, just before everybody starts tapping away there, that this is nothing new. Of course it isn't. Players go off an international break. They go and play for their country, and they come back with injuries, and they're out for weeks. But who suffers? The clubs suffer, of course. We, as fans of our clubs, individual clubs, we suffer. So I think for 2 reasons, this is why we kind of either should just scale back the Nations League or do away with it whatsoever. You just have the World Cup qualifiers, you have the Euro qualifiers, and you just have the odd friendly as well. Get rid of the Nations League. It's just putting too much stress on the players, too much stress on the clubs, and you're getting players who are basically just not resting enough. They're going away with their countries too often, in training camps, constantly on the go, all the travel that's associated with it as well. They come back, they're injured, and they always have a bit of a crap spell when they come back and play for their clubs as well. We suffer as fans, and also the clubs suffer. Now, if you're a fan of international football, you say, no, we want to see more and more of it. I agree there is a case for it. But when you kind of look at the cost of it to the players and to the clubs, then you've got to kind of question, well, do we really need something like the Nations League? I'm not convinced by it. I never have been convinced by it. And all the different ways you can qualify for the Euros and all that kind of stuff. It was just confusing at the start, and it's still confusing to me now. But I just think we just don't need it. And whilst, yes, I hold my hand up, I am looking at the international games, and especially looking at, a couple of nations to see where they are. And there's been great games out there as well. It's been interesting to see how these nations are matching up with each other and how the players are playing for their nations as opposed to playing for their clubs early doors in the season. Let's just take Switzerland, for example. I thought they were going to do really well in this Nations League break. I kind of predicted that they give Spain a run for their money, but no, they haven't. They've lost twice, I believe. They've had a few players sent off. It hasn't been good for them. By contrast, a nation which I thought wasn't going to do anything at all, Sweden, they come away with 2 wins. If you're a Newcastle United fan, you're going to be really pleased that Isak is knocking in goals for fun as well. So there's positives and negatives out there, but I just think overwhelmingly the players are just playing too much. They're going away with their nations and travelling too much, and also they're picking up injuries. That's my point. And regardless of what the good points are, the cost is too high. And as per usual, there's always some kind of falling out either between club and country or national team manager and club manager as well. Or there's, they're throwing shots at each other as well. I mean, just last night, it seems as if the Norwegian manager was throwing shots at Mikel Arteta at Arsenal as well. So it all seems to be a little bit unnecessary as well. Again, I'll step back from my rant a little bit because it has been enjoyable to watch a few of these games as well. And actually to have them live streamed on YouTube by a couple of accounts has been really good as well, especially those kind of obscure games. You think, well, let me just see how they're playing as well. So it's been really good over the last few nights to watch it. Now, of course, we can't talk about these couple of games in the Nations League without talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. He's still knocking in goals for fun. Yes, there are people out there who say, yeah, you can't be number one striker for Portugal. It doesn't matter. He still knocks in goals. He scored 901 goals, the most of any player. Now, I always thought that Pele and Romario had broken the 1,000-goal benchmark, but a lot of those goals, they couldn't be verified. That's why their goals aren't all the way up there. I think they're in the 750s, 800s, whatever it is. But it was always said that Pele had scored over 1,000 goals and Romario scored over 1,000 goals. And I remember Romario scoring his 1,000th goal. It was a penalty. He was older. He was overweight. But that was supposed to be his 1,000th goal. Now, can it be verified? No. But Cristiano Ronaldo's can be 100% verified. He's got 901 goals. He's still knocking them in for fun. He's going to be knocking them in for fun for the Saudi League as well. He's going to try and get to 1,000, bless him. So regardless of what you think of him, one of the highlights of these couple of games is that, hey, he's still knocking in goals for fun for Portugal. And if your other strikers are not scoring, and then he comes on as a substitute and scores, guess what? You're on to a winner. There have been some other positives out of these couple of games as well. If you're a Napoli fan, I think you're going to be very happy. They just signed 2 Scottish players, Scott McTominay and Billy Gilmore, who both scored, yes, in their 2-3 defeat to Poland. And Scott McTominay scored for Scotland in the 2-1 defeat to Portugal. However, that's still encouraging news. So again, whilst I am ranting a little bit on the validity of having the Nations League, there are positives to come out of it, no doubt. But I still stand by it. I still stand by the fact you should scrap the Nations League. It's just too much pressure on the players. It's too much pressure on the clubs. And the price is too high when you're losing players for an extended period of time. And in some cases, possibly for West Ham, who hasn't really proven himself yet, well, he could be out for the rest of the season now. And that's just too much of a price to pay. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What have you thought about the Nations League? What have you thought about England's performance against Ireland? Well, they should have won. They did win. But it was a good first half. It wasn't a great second half. How do you think they should be playing against these teams like Ireland and Finland and any other nation out there? Do you think they should be knocking 6 or 7 past them? Do you think Lee Carsley is the manager of choice now, playing a bit more of expansive football? Is he the guy for England? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now. So week 3 of the English Premier League, and this is a Saturday morning football breakfast. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to me, Eds. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for future videos. So look ahead to today's fixtures, well, the weekend fixtures again. This is a breakfast show. I'm going to go through all the different leagues and the games to watch out for. So let's just kick off with the English Premier League. Today's fixtures, the early kickoff. The really interesting game here is Arsenal flying high, 2 wins out of 2. Also Brighton, 2 wins out of 2. Arsenal at home. Are they going to be big enough and brave enough to take on the mighty Brighton, who seem to be, well, defying all the odds yet again? Now, could it be the time that Brighton come unstuck up against a really decent Arsenal? Let us know your thoughts there, but this would be a game to watch, no doubt. I'll be watching it. 12:30 kickoff. I'm still going to go for an Arsenal win, but it's a really interesting tie. The other big game today, and this might surprise a few of you, is the Everton game. Everton at home to Bournemouth. So Everton's still looking for their first win, actually first points of the season so far. The club, Sean Dyche, under a lot of pressure from the fans to not only get results, get wins on the board, but also put in decent performances as well. So this would be a very interesting game for Everton. They really should be starting to get some points on the board. I think this is going to be a 1-1 draw. You know, you would imagine home advantage, but Bournemouth haven't been playing too badly themselves either, so this could go either way as well. But that's definitely a game to watch this afternoon for a 3 o'clock kickoff. And I go watch my previous video for all the week 3 predictions for the English Premier League as well. But those are the 2 standout games for the Saturday. And I'll be back on Sunday night with a full review of all the results as we go into the international break. Okay, into the Championship, a couple of standout games here for me. Burnley, who took a loss last time out, they're at home to Blackburn Rovers. This would be a really interesting tie. Both teams have started reasonably well, or very well this season. So it'd be very interesting, this game, and it's a local derby as well. Burnley against Blackburn Rovers. I'm going to go for a Burnley home win, but don't write off Blackburn in this one. This is going to be one epic duel as well. And that's also a 12:30 kickoff as well. So watch out for the Burnley-Blackburn Rovers result. Now, flying high at the top of the Championship is Sunderland, 3 wins out of 3. They're away to Portsmouth today, who are mid-tables, and they've had 3 draws on the bounce as well. So again, another intriguing game. Can Sunderland extend their lead at the top? Can they continue on this winning streak? Or will they be held back by Portsmouth, maybe with another draw? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But those are the 2 standout games for me in the Championship. Okay, into League 1 now, and some really interesting fixtures as well. Stockport County got an interesting game against mid-table Mansfield Town. Reading at home to 3rd place Charlton Athletic as well, so that should be an interesting game. But the game for me in League 1 is Stevenage at home, mid-table Stevenage against 6th place Lincoln City. So this would be a really interesting game. It'll be really interesting to see what the result is and how that affects the table as well. Still early doors in the season, of course. These early games are quite crucial in how you build momentum as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Lincoln City do away to Stevenage, and if they can push on with the season as well. And finally into League 2, no major headline games, I would say. Some top of the table versus bottom of the table clashes, some interesting games there. A lot of mid-table clashes as well. So I'm just going to pick out a couple of my highlight games here. Okay, so my first game to look out for is Barrow away to Harrogate. Barrow in 4th position, Harrogate in 13th position as well. So an interesting tie here, just to see how the points will affect the table positions early on in the season as well. But as I say, this is quite an interesting game based upon the stats that both teams have had as well. I'm going to go for a Barrow win, but this is going to be quite a close one, I would predict. And the other game I'm going to pick out in League 2 is Newport away to Morecambe. Newport in 5th and Morecambe at the bottom of the table as well. Okay, again, I'm going to go for a Newport County win, but I think this is going to be a real test for Morecambe just to keep in touch with the rest of the league, and also whether Newport County can strengthen their position in the top 6 as well. Let us know your thoughts here. So there we go, that's the Saturday morning football breakfast for the Premier League, Championship, League 1 and League 2. Some standout games there as well. I'm sure you have your own picks, I'm sure you have your own preferences as well. I'll be looking at a lot of other teams as well. keeping a good eye out for a Reading, my hometown, but also my team who I support, West Ham. We're in for a bashing tonight at 5:30 against Man City. Can't say I'm looking forward to that, but you never know. We might surprise a few people. Catch you again on Sunday. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell for all future videos, and I'll catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now. Taxi for one or a long walk home? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to S1E12. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So we've just had week 3 of the English Premier League and some great matches right through the divisions, but I'm just going to stick with the English Premier League of what went on. So there's some interesting results all the way through. Newcastle beating Spurs yesterday 2-1. Didn't see that coming, I got to say. On Saturday, Arsenal with a 1-1 draw against Brighton & Hove Albion. What did you think of that sending off of Declan Rice? I thought it was a little bit harsh. I thought, yes, by the letter of the law, you could say that he did flick the ball away. But if he's getting sent off for that yellow card, then the Brighton player, Wellman, should have also received, at the very least, a yellow card for that, because he was swinging a leg, completely missed the ball, and he clobbered basically Declan Rice and took him to the floor. However, he was swinging a leg at a moving ball, so he's got no defence there. He should not be trying to kick a moving ball if he thought it was a free kick or whatever it was. So for me, the referee made the technically right decision, but it was a bit of a farce, bit of a fiasco. I think they could have basically just let that one go as well. But look, there were lots of other incidents in that game as well. But say it ended up 1-1. Brighton could have possibly done a little bit better against 10 men, but look, a 1-1 draw, fair result, you would say, for both teams who are flying high in the league. Brentford came away with another impressive win, 3-1. Ipswich get their first points on the board this season with a 1-1 draw against Fulham. Nottingham Forest also hold back Wolverhampton Wanderers with another 1-1 draw as well. But let's face it, the other games are the big talking points. So let's just talk about whose job is in jeopardy right now. Well, it's got to be Sean Dyche at Everton, right? 3 games, 0 points, and they had, 3 or 4 minutes to go in the game, 2-0 up, and then all of a sudden went into 2-1. Then in added time, 2-2, and then 3-2 to Bournemouth. I mean, what a collapse, what a fiasco. And if you're an Everton fan, you think, what the hell's going on? Did you take anything from that game to think, Everton, could claw this back, could in next games, the next game after, the next 4 or 5 games, could start getting points on the board? Or do you think, you know what, something's got to be done now by the ownership, by the manager, leaving, there's got to be a change here? What do you say? Let me know in the comments below. But if anybody's under pressure right now, it's got to be Sean Dyche, not only for the way they've played, but especially how they, just fell apart in the dying minutes there and just completely got railroaded by Bournemouth, who are it was basically a bit of a smash and grab, really, right at the very end, wasn't it, for them? Because they weren't playing well in that game. So Everton 2, Bournemouth 3, let me know your thoughts on that one. Now, it would be remiss of me not to talk about my team, West Ham United, getting, rolled over by Manchester City, well and truly. I mean, look, it was a decent performance from West Ham as well, but you've got Manchester City, one of the best teams in the land, if not the best team in the land, and the way they play and the kind of players that they have in every position. Jack Grealish made his return, and he had a great game for me as well. But Haaland, another hat-trick hero, Haaland. Hat-trick Haaland, we've got to call him, because he scores so many of them. He's already got, 7 or 8 goals already this season. I mean, it's just insane how many goals he scores. And he doesn't really do a lot in the game. That's why a lot of strikers kind of think, he's not that good. But what he is fantastic is, what he's the best at, is just putting the ball in the back of the net. When he gets the opportunity to have a strike on goal, usually, more often than not, it's on target, number one. And usually, more often than not, he puts the ball in the back of the net. I mean, you can defend against it, but it's just so incredibly hard. So Manchester City, yes, well-deserved winners. I'm not going to be kind of all sour about our defeat. But I think West Ham, they had their opportunities, yeah. And I still say it time and time again. If you mix up your play against Man City, if you put long balls over the top or long balls through, splitting the defence, you have your striker standing right on your last defender, ready to sprint after a ball, you're going to put Manchester City under pressure. And I don't think we did that nearly half enough. I think we should have done it a lot more, and I think all other teams should be trying to do this. I'm not saying that's their only game, I'm not saying that's their only tactic, but I'm saying if you put Manchester City under pressure defensively, just like any other team, they start to panic a little bit. They start to struggle. But, what are we talking about here? Manchester City, they're a fantastic team. So you've got to have a lot of luck. You've got to be on your A game, and you've got to mix it up and put their defence under a lot of pressure and make them guess a lot. And if you can do that, you might have a chance. I think you might have a chance, right? So West Ham United 1, Manchester City 3, another hat-trick for Haaland. Now, the other game on Sunday was Chelsea against Crystal Palace, finished 1-1. You probably would have thought that Chelsea could have done a lot better in that game and probably should have done a lot better. But they kind of let that one slip away as well. They had lots of opportunities in the first half. It looks promising for Chelsea, but they can't have results like this throughout the season. They've got to button up these results and button up these performances for me to launch any kind of challenge. I do see them as a top 6 side this season, but anything more than that, top 4, I don't think so. Not on what I'm seeing right now. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But of course, the biggest game of the weekend, and this is taxi for one or a long walk home, it's got to be for Erik ten Hag. Now, he was kind of bullish before the game. Oh, yeah, Manchester United have, won more in the last couple of years than Liverpool have. Oh, we've done so much better the last couple of years. Well, the proof is the performances, right? Manchester United have not looked impressive this season. Liverpool have. Liverpool came to Old Trafford. They kind of dominated. They exposed Manchester United for what they truly are. Manchester United were making lots of mistakes. Casemiro in the first half was making lots of mistakes. I note that his wife is starting to give a bit of the old verbals this morning or yesterday about his performance, or the criticism of his performance as well. So that's interesting. I mean, if you're a Manchester United fan, what are you thinking of that performance? What do you think of the result, of course? Now, beforehand, if you watch one of my previous videos, I said, look, Manchester United might even surprise all of us and come out with a win. Well, how wrong was I? That's why I was saying you should never follow my predictions, because I was kind of thinking, do you know what? Man United might surprise a lot of people. Liverpool may come unstuck, but they didn't. They were just fantastic. 2 goals by Diaz. Salah had a great game and got the third as well. But look, all around, Liverpool just played better. Overall, it was just a much better display, much more proficient display than Manchester United, who seem to be all at sea. Who's on the bench for Liverpool? They've got so much strength in depth. The midfield is great. The defence is very, very good as well. Arne Slot, the manager, has come in and he's just kind of kept the ball rolling for them. He hasn't really done anything dramatically different this season. They've just kept the ball rolling. They are probably your top 3 side, definitely a top 4 side, but could they be a top 2? Could they even challenge for the title? As I say, Manchester City, for me, once again, just seem to be the machine that they are, but Liverpool seem to be very close behind, as do Arsenal, in all fairness. I think they slipped up against Brighton, but I think they are definitely a force to be reckoned with. But Liverpool against Manchester United, what do you think? The 2 Dutch managers came head-to-head, and it's 1-0 to Arne Slot, and wow, might have another chance to welcome Erik ten Hag to Anfield, because on these performances and these results especially, you've got to be thinking, the ownership of Manchester United might be thinking, we should have changed him in the summer. I don't know, let me know your thoughts, especially if you're a Man United fan. Do you think they should have changed the manager in the summer? Should they have taken the hard line? Even though Erik ten Hag won the FA Cup last season, even though Erik ten Hag won the League Cup the previous season, It's the league performances that are all at sea. Should they have changed the manager? Is he under real pressure to get the sack right now? We were kind of saying this all last season as well, but they stuck with him and he produced the goods right in the end. Is it too early? I think it's too early myself. But as I say, it's against Liverpool. You got a drubbing. Whilst the score didn't reflect a real drubbing, it's not like a 6-0 from a few seasons ago. This is still a drubbing in terms of performance, but he's got to be feeling pretty sore about that, as will all the players, and I'm sure every Manchester United fan. By contrast, every Liverpool fan out there is going to be, buoyant, aren't they? They're going to be feeling great about themselves and their team and the way they're going as well. But obviously, a little bit of overconfidence can kick you in the arse later on in the season as well. But as I say, you've got to be feeling good about Liverpool if you're a Liverpool fan, and you've got to be feeling pretty shitty if you're a Manchester United fan. Is the time up for Erik ten Hag? I'm not so sure, but his time is short if they don't improve their performances. Now we're on an international break for a couple of weeks, of course, especially here in Europe for the Nations League. But let us know your thoughts on all the results of the weekend, whichever league it is. I say there have been some cracking games and cracking results, actually, throughout all the divisions this last weekend. But I say the English Premier League, Manchester City, just the machine. Liverpool just doing a number on Manchester United, and Arsenal just possibly slipping up a little bit against Brighton. But Brighton are a very decent team. But what about Everton and Sean Dyche? Let us know your thoughts. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again in another video coming very soon. Bye now. So week 2 in the Premier League is upon us and it's already hotting up. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Me Edson. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So week 2 of the English Premier League is upon us. Now, before I get into this and looking ahead to some cracking fixtures already, it would be remiss of me to ignore all the other leagues around the world, but certainly here in the UK. There's some cracking competitions going on already, not only in the English divisions, but also in Scotland as well. I've been catching up with some games recently. So some cracking fixtures and some interesting results already. But the Championship here in the UK, in England I should say, is already had some great fixtures as well. And in League One as well. I've been keeping an eye out on some of those fixtures and some of those results. My hometown where I live, Reading, they're in League One, and they've had a couple of decent results here and there. And some Wrexham, who've come up from League Two, obviously into League One, they've had a couple of shows as well. So it's been interesting to see how these teams are showing themselves, how they're performing in early doors. Mansfield have come up and they've had a couple of decent results as well. So, don't just because we're looking at the English Premier League, don't forget there's lots of great competitions, lots of great matches going on in the lower leagues. And in fact, in many ways, I kind of prefer the lower league football because it's kind of really honest football. Yeah, I'm really into Premier League games, and I support West Ham, of course, so we're in the Premier League, so that's where I'm at. But also every now and again I go and catch a Reading game, and I've always really liked to watch it. Yeah, from a neutral's point of view, but it is my hometown as well. But it's good to not have to deal with VAR and just some honest tackles going in, that kind of thing. So if you only ever watch the English Premier League, all I would say is try and watch some of the games as well from the lower divisions, because I'll tell you what, there's some cracking games. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to the English Premier League that has started last weekend. I've already made a video about that, but I'm really looking forward now to the next game and some very interesting games ahead, and possibly the most interesting of the lot is Brighton at home to Manchester United. Now, Manchester United, as we know, were a 1-0 winners, an unconvincing 1-0 win, I would say, against Fulham in their opening fixture. But they go away to Brighton, who last time out, away at Everton, beat them 3-0. And I don't know what it is about Brighton, but fans, neutral fans and, neutral owners, let's say, will kind of be always looking at Brighton in the last few years, especially, to say, how are they doing it? Such a well-run club. They buy really well. They sell really well. They play attractive football. One manager goes, another one comes in, and it's still the same thing. The backroom staff, the structure at Brighton, whatever they're doing, whatever magic ingredient they've got, every other fan in the land, we all want it. We all want it for our own club as well. Yes, and maybe we've got a great structure at our own clubs, and we don't want to say we've got a crap structure. But if you look at Brighton, they always seem to be doing a fantastic job. And maybe we've been doing Brighton a bit of disservice over the last few years when we kind of saying, yeah, they're overachieving, or they're doing a lot better than we would expect, or, you know, they're getting results where they shouldn't. Well, actually, maybe we should be really respecting Brighton as an outfit, as a club, as a powerhouse, really, to say, no, you're going to Brighton. That's a tough game. That's a tough game. And for this game, Manchester United against Brighton, I would not be surprised if this is a Brighton home win, and quite a convincing win, especially the way Manchester United have kind of stumbled into the season, whereas Brighton have gone all guns blazing. And that Matoma is a cracking player for the last few years, you know, and will they hold on to Matoma? That's the thing for Brighton. Will they hold on to him? Certainly at the end of this transfer window, you would imagine they will, but come January, will somebody big come in for him? Yet to be seen, of course, but that's probably the fixture of week 2 for me. Brighton at home to Manchester United. I'm going for a home win there for Brighton, but make no mistake, they are a force to be reckoned with, and a fantastically run club that many a neutral fan will agree, whoever you support. Now, possibly the dreaded fixture in week 2 would be Crystal Palace against West Ham. Both had losses in week 1. Still finding their feet under new management as well. Still kind of trying to find where they are in terms of playing styles, and have they got players still yet to go out the door, or players still to come in as well. So this is going to be quite an interesting matchup. Don't expect fireworks, don't expect great play from either side, but I think this is going to be a tough game for both clubs. Hopefully, from my point of view, West Ham will come away with a win. We haven't had a lot of success at Crystal Palace in recent years as well, so it could be a tough day at the office for West Ham United. If that's 2 losses on the bounce for Lopetegui, West Ham manager, you would imagine he's going to come under a bit of increasing pressure there as well. But look, time will tell. Only 2 games into the season, okay? So it's not all doom and gloom just yet. However, we've got to talk about momentum. We've got to talk about racking up results, getting points on the board. 2 games in, you can already see a gap developing between some of the, you know, the leaders of the pack and the also-rans. And West Ham could easily be that team, as well as Crystal Palace, of course. Going on form, I would say that a draw would probably suit both clubs. That's where I'm at. Okay, the next fixture to look out for was Fulham at home to Leicester City. Leicester City who drew 1-1 against Tottenham on Monday night. And yeah, that man, their talisman, their legend, that is Jamie Vardy, 37 years old, still knocking them in. And he scored on Monday night, but they've got a bit of a striker problem. Jamie Vardy can't do it all, especially at his age. They need to bring in somebody drastically, desperately to play alongside him, or he can feed off, and somebody who's going to do the running for him, and he can get a few tap-ins, let's say. How many goals can they get out of Jamie Vardy this season? I mean, who knows? I mean, if he gets into double figures, that'll be a great return for a striker of his age, of course. If he does even better than that, 15, 20 goals, well, it'll be an absolute hero. But they need somebody else. Now, by contrast, Fulham, yes, they lost against Manchester United, but I did say in the last video, watch out for Fulham, because they've had some decent buys this season. They've got a couple of players that have come in, quality players as well. Watch out for them. I'm going for a home win here for Fulham, and that's mainly because I think Fulham are a decent team. Yes, they lost against Manchester United, but they could have scored themselves, and also that Leicester haven't really got a striker as well, and they might be relying too much on Jamie Vardy. This could be famous last words here for me, but I'm going for a Fulham home win there. Okay, next fixture. I'm going to brush over this one, and I kind of feel really sorry for Ipswich Town because they're away to Manchester City. 2 opening fixtures. The first one against Liverpool was a loss 2-0. Now away to Manchester City. You've got to favour Manchester City on this, but don't be downbeat if you're an Ipswich fan or anybody else looking at Ipswich saying, oh, 2 losses. You know, it's still very early days, but, you know, it's almost like they've got to have an acceptance to say, if we lose these 2 games, then yes, we'll be 6 points down on the leaders. Yes, we'll have no points on the board. But as I said in a previous video, it's all about capitalizing when you play the other teams and gaining points where you can. So it's a marathon here. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Let's just see how they can do. But you would imagine, just for to gather the hearts and minds of the Ipswich fan base, you want to start getting points on the board. Now, if they can get something away at Manchester City, fantastic, of course. But even if they lose by a big margin, then all is not lost. Just bear that in mind. Okay, the next fixture, which I'll put in the same vein as Fulham against Leicester, is Nottingham Forest against Southampton. Southampton lost their opening fixture, and Nottingham Forest drew their opening fixture as well. So it's kind of even Stevens there, really. You would kind of favour Nottingham Forest slightly to edge this, but don't underestimate Southampton. You know, it's too early to tell for both these teams, I would say, but let's say a draw. We'll give them a draw and see how we go, but this could go either way as well. Tottenham Hotspur against Everton. Again, Everton, poor showing out last time against Brighton and lost 3-0 at home. Their fans are going to want to see some kind of response from them, some kind of offensive play, playing on the front foot and closing down Tottenham and not letting them play as well. Can they produce that kind of football? Tottenham, by contrast, they would kind of think that they lost 2 points in their last outing against Leicester City on Monday. We drew 1-1, of course. They've also bought well in the transfer window, and the manager is buoyant as well for the season ahead. Let's see how they do, but this is going to be an interesting matchup. But I've got to say, I'm going for a Tottenham home win on this one. I'm not convinced that Everton are at the races just yet. Let us know your thoughts on that one. And finally, for the last of the Saturday fixtures, it's an early evening kickoff at 5:30. Aston Villa at home to Arsenal. If there was ever a game to watch, this is the one. Aston Villa played West Ham United last time out. Whilst it weren't overly impressive, they still came away with a win, and deservedly so. Arsenal in their opening fixture had a 2-0 win. So it's a great matchup. Both finished in the top 4 last season. Arsenal second, Aston Villa fourth, of course. Both deserve to be there. Both have got great squads, and they come into this season with a great squad and also reinforced really well in the transfer window. This could be a cracking game, but I'm going to go for an Arsenal away win. This is where I'm at with it. I just think that Arsenal have a little bit too much for Aston Villa, but I could be proven completely wrong here, and Aston Villa could come away with the spoils. But let us know your thoughts on this. But this would be a great match to watch. Certainly one to watch. If you're going to watch a game this weekend, I would say this is the one to watch. Now on to the Sunday fixtures. Bournemouth at home to Newcastle. Bournemouth with a 1-1 draw last time out. Newcastle with a 1-0 win, of course. And this is going to be one of those games where you think, well, who's going to really come out on top? Bournemouth haven't really looked that inspiring. However, they've lost Solanke. They brought in a couple of players. Newcastle are still kind of finding their identity in this campaign, but they started with a win, so they got 3 points on the board. Bournemouth have got a point on the board. I'm going to go for another draw in this game. I don't think Newcastle have enough to overcome Bournemouth, but again, let us know your thoughts on this one. But this is one of those games where you think, well, it could go either way. And another game on Sunday is Wolverhampton Wanderers against Chelsea. Wolves at home. Both lost their opening games. Wolves to Arsenal, Chelsea to Man City. Chelsea kind of lacklustre performance there. Didn't really produce a lot that would really hurt Manchester City. And you could levy the same kind of criticism or the same kind of observation at Wolverhampton Wanderers. I've got a feeling, Chelsea will come good in this game, and I'm going to go for an away win. But don't be surprised if they completely capitulate, they completely crash and burn, and Wolverhampton Wanderers come out on top. Go the Wolves if you're a Wolves fan. Go the Chelsea if you're a Chelsea fan. I really can't call this one, but I've got to say, I'm kind of feeling that it could be Chelsea's day. But that's more to do with Wolves not really being quite at the races right yet, and Chelsea stuttered, but they might be finding their feet. But they've got such a huge squad to play with. It's a tough ask for Maresca, in my opinion. They don't seem to have a lot of harmony in that squad, especially with what's been happening with Raheem Sterling as well. I know there's been some clarification on that as well this week, but let's know your thoughts on that one. But Wolves against Chelsea, I'm going to go with the away win, or it could even be a draw. Sitting on the fence on this one. And finally, the 4:30 kickoff on Sunday, Liverpool at home to Brentford. Both came away with a win on the opening fixture. But again, I would favour Liverpool in this. Arne Slot's second official game in charge of Premier League season, going up against another impressive Brentford. They do tend to start their seasons quite well and then peter off, so they will be looking to either get a point or certainly get a win. That will be absolutely fantastic for them, of course, to build on that momentum. But Liverpool just need to consolidate, and they just need to keep that pressure on. They know, even now at the start of the season, they're chasing Arsenal and Manchester City. They're the two teams that they need to keep on the coattails of, and so they need to build on it straight away. So I'm going to go for a Liverpool win. I'm going to go for quite a convincing win, but don't underestimate Brentford, because I think certainly up until Christmas I'll be looking for them to get some decent results and possibly some surprising wins as well. But I'm going to go for a home win for Liverpool here. So already in week 2, it's all to play with. And this is where we're going to start seeing teams pull away, get a few points on the board, but there's space between them and other teams as well. And this is where the psychology starts to play in on teams and players and managers and coaches and stuff, and also in fans. We're all the same as well. You all start to think, wow, we're doing really well. 2 games in, 6 points on the board. Fantastic. We've got the momentum. We're playing well. Everything's looking rosy. But it could easily fall apart in 2 or 3 games' time, of course. But if you're 6 points down, you've got no points on the board at all, 2 losses, and maybe heavy losses as well, that's when everybody's kind of looking around and wondering what the hell's going on and if you're ever going to get out of this. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But some cracking games already in week 2 of the English Premier League. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now. The football season has started. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Me Son. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So the English Premier League football season has started this last weekend, and we've had some humdingers in the mix as well. Some really good games, and I've been waiting all summer for this to happen. Yes, I know we've had the Euros, and yes, I know we've had the Olympics, but let's face it, the football season started. That's where it's at. I love my boxing, I love my MMA and all that kind of stuff, but when it comes to the number one sport for me, it is always football, closely followed by boxing, I've got to admit. But football's where it's at now. My team, West Ham United, we're let's put it this way, we're kind of full of hope because of all the signings that we've made during the summer. And we came up against Aston Villa. Yeah, we got beat 2-1. But listen, it's kind of, we're on the building blocks, I would say. But, as we say, fortune's always hiding for the West Ham fan base, I would say. But other teams went out there. Some decent wins for Liverpool. Newcastle got off the mark as well. Brentford as well, they were out there. Man United with a narrow win on Friday night against Fulham. Man City beating Chelsea quite convincingly, much to the annoyance of the Chelsea fan base, with all the shenanigans that's going on there as well. So some very interesting games over the weekend. Tottenham playing Leicester tonight as well. Leicester newly promoted. So, I've got a feeling in my veins, in my water, there's something burning there. And that's not the UTI, by the way. This has got to do with this season. I just got a feeling it's got to be quite an epic season. I think there's many teams there who have bought well in the summer. Let's say like West Ham. I truly believe that have bought well. But it's whether it can all fit together, whether the new manager, for example, can fit it all together and get a team out of it. Just like by contrast, Aston Villa, they've bought well in the summer, but they still had a really good team there. A lot of the core players from last season were still there. So, there wasn't much of a change, and they played really well. Aston Villa are a decent side. How are Man United going to do? They weren't really convincing against Fulham, but Fulham on another day, could do quite well as well. So don't write off Fulham. Liverpool looked strong. They did really well against Ipswich. You got to kind of, it's only one game into the season, but you got to look at the likes of Ipswich, how they're going to fare against the other teams, because it's not really about the top six. You might get a result here and there, but it's about the other teams in the division. Can you get enough points to just stay in the league? How naive are you going to be? How defensively savvy are you going to be? These are all the questions that any team should be asking themselves, or any fan should be asking of themselves as well, especially out of those top six teams. Now, who are the top six right now? Who are those teams? Are we still including Man United and Chelsea in that? Because they're not top six really. Are we talking? It's got to be Arsenal, who had a decent win as well, 2-0. It's got to be Arsenal. It's got to be Man City. It's got to be Liverpool. Well, there's a 3. Do you throw Tottenham in there? Yeah. Could you throw Newcastle in there? Do you throw Aston Villa in there? Yeah, because they were definitely there as well at the end of last season. So it could be a big change in the guard. Now we can't really talk about a top 6. Maybe really should be talking about a top 8 right now, or 7 or 8 for the European places. Those are your best in the league, which they are. Let's face it. The position in the league doesn't lie. So every other team around that, below that, and struggling for relegation, those are the teams they're going to be looking at to beat and to get points off if they can. But every other team around them, or below those top 7 or 8 places, those are the ones where you gotta get some points. How successful you're going to be. My team, if I look at West Ham right now, I think, well, where are the points going to come from? It's so many ifs and buts. It really depends on how a new manager with a new group of players and lots of new signings, can he make them gel? And this is going to be the same for every manager and every team. As we look at the first game of the season, you think it's too early to tell. And I totally agree. I'm not saying right now this is where it's at. What I'm saying is between 5 and 10 games into the season, kind of when you're looking at about mid-October, late October, that's kind of when you're looking at to see, you know what, we need to do something about this. We need to change the way we're doing things. And some managers are already coming under pressure. Chelsea manager, I believe, was coming under pressure in the pre-season friendlies, for Christ's sake. He's certainly coming under pressure. And it's not his fault. It's not his fault for me, because, you've got a board, you've got ownership that are buying 40 or 50 players or whatever it is in their squad. It's just too many players to be messing around with. You've also got Raheem Sterling coming out and just putting out, a public notice of how disappointed he is, and all this kind of stuff. It's almost like you haven't really got that squad together, operating together, singing off the same hymn sheet, and it's just too many. That's the problem. It's almost like he's got an impossible job there. But we're talking the first game of the season. The first game of the season, then all of a sudden we're already talking about problems. Look, there have been managers in the past. Who was it? Frank de Boer, who got sacked from Crystal Palace a few years ago, only after 3 games into the season. This could happen. I'm not saying to Chelsea, Chelsea fans, hold your horses here. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but obviously there's problems within that club. There could be lots of problems emerging in other clubs within the next 2 or 3 games, and you'll see the writings on the wall very early on. So whilst it'd be too early to be making any formal predictions at that point, you can see a trend that needs to be addressed straight away. And especially if it's a negative trend, they need to address that straight away. Certainly the likes of Chelsea, certainly the likes of West Ham, for example, who've made big investments as well, and they need to look at seeing how these players can come together and make a team that can play attractive football that the fans are going to like. And yeah, we like some of the changes that have been made. We like some of the possession-based football, but it always has to translate into results, or either draws or wins. If you start having lots of losses, then all of a sudden you're going to have lots of problems going forward. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below about your particular team. Are you excited about the new season starting? I'm sure you are, just like me. Were you disappointed in your team's performance over this last weekend? Some of the teams out there I just thought were a little bit lackluster. I think the Man United, I'd say you look at that team, and look, if you're a fan of Manchester United, I would say you're kind of looking at that thinking, I'm not 100% sure whether a lot has changed here. I'm not sure whether, you know, we can really say that we've turned a corner with Manchester United, and they're going to go on to bigger and better things. But I've always said as well, if you can win ugly, if you can win when you're struggling, then that is a great building block to develop and to get things in order and to work your problems out. As long as you keep on winning, as long as you build momentum, build confidence, that can fix a lot of ills in a team. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But Tottenham against Leicester tonight, that's going to be an interesting game. Who could win that? It's too early to tell, isn't it? It's too early to tell. You probably have to favour Tottenham on that, but I don't know. Sneaky little Leicester coming up. Steve Cooper in charge. Yeah. Let's just see how they do. But the games are going to be coming thick and fast now, and I can't wait. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now. So, international football break. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to S1E12. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, international football break for the Nations League, and some interesting ties, some kind of dull affairs as well come in, I'm sure, but depending on which country you support, of course, and what heritage you're from, you're going to have a vested interest. Personally, yeah, I like international football, but club football is where it's at for me, more than international football. But always watch the games, of course. But it kicks off on Thursday for the Nations League. So a couple of interesting ties. On Thursday, we've got Portugal at home to Croatia. That'd be a decent game to watch. And we've also got Scotland at home to Poland as well. It'd be interesting to see how Scotland do as well. What they can sort of build on from what they've been doing the last couple of years as well. Now, Friday night, I suppose the game of the night is France at home to Italy, who I support Italy, but I've got to say it's not looking good for Italy. They were atrocious in the Euros. They haven't been playing well for a long time. Spalletti needs to do a lot better, and the players need to do a lot better. Just by the basics, controlling the ball, passing the ball, it was really poor in the Euros as well. Chiesa, who's just gone to Liverpool as well. I'm sure he'd be featuring as well, but I say he had a really poor tournament. In fact, most players did as well. Calafiori's joined Arsenal. It'd be really interesting to see. He was actually one of the shining lights for Italy in the Euros, as was Bastoni in defence. Again, two defenders again. It's not looking good for Italy in terms of an attacking sense. So they need to do a lot better as well. So it'll be interesting to see which squad comes out, but also which starting 11 Italy put out. But France, they are a very, very decent team. But it'd be very interesting to see what the result was. But I'm going to go for a home win for France there. I can't see Italy winning there. Now, the other game of night on Friday night is Slovenia at home to Austria. Austria, who impressed a lot of people at the Euros as well. That'd be a really interesting game. If you're kind of a neutral of all these nations, that'd be a really interesting game to see if you can watch on Friday night. So Slovenia at home to Austria. I would favour Austria in this based upon purely their performances at the Euros as well. Saturday, we have Germany at home to Hungary. That'd be a decent game. But really, the game that we're all interested in is Ireland against England. Ireland at home. Let's just see how they do. But you've got to be feeling that it's going to be an England away win here. I would imagine Ireland haven't been great the last few years, and they'll need to do a hell of a lot more, even with home advantage, to upset England, I would say here. So England for an away win. What will be the score? That's the key issue here. Now, Sunday night, if we start getting into the second games of the Nations League, we've got Portugal at home to Scotland. So again, interesting to see how Scotland do. But for me, the game of the night is Switzerland at home to Spain. Spain just won the Euros, impressive in every department. But Switzerland were no slouches either, and they probably feel a little bit aggrieved to lose out to England there in their game. But as I say, they are a decent team, Switzerland, so it'll be very interesting to see how they do against Spain. So watch out for that result. And Monday, the 9th of September, we got France at home to Belgium. That'd be an interesting game as well. Belgium, I feel, are still stuttering, whereas France, I think they are the much better side right now. But as I say, let us know your thoughts on that. Again, it'll be an interesting game to watch. watch, I would imagine. A lesser game for the neutral, but certainly I'll be interested in Israel at home to Italy as well. Again, I would imagine, even though Italy have been faltering a lot, I would say that Italy should be coming away with a win at Israel, but no, in Italy it'll probably be 0-0 or a 1-1 draw or something like that. And I don't think it's going to be a very impressive display. But look, I'm a bit down on Italy right now, but as I say, I would expect them to beat Israel, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But for me, the tie of the night is France against Belgium. Tuesday the 10th of September, we got England at home to Finland. Again, you would imagine this is going to be a home win. I can't really see Finland upsetting England in any department, in any way, shape or form. But the game of the night for me is got to be the Netherlands at home to Germany. Both nations probably feel they should have done a lot better in the Euros than they actually did. But as I say, this would be an interesting tie. Two nations that don't really like each other historically in many different ways. But say this would be a very interesting game for the neutral as well. But Netherlands at home to Germany, I'm going to go for a very much sitting on the fence, a draw on this one, a 1-1 draw. So there we go. That's a wrap up of the international break, the Nations League, and the predictions, if you like. So let us know your thoughts in the comments below, which nation you're going to be following and which games you're going to be watching as well. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you know what to do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. But I can't see England losing, and I can see Italy losing a lot. But you've got to expect France and Spain to be strong. But if some of the other nations can carry their form on from the Euros, there might be a few surprises in store. Catch you again. Bye now. Who is going to be the first English Premier League manager to be sacked this season for 2024-2025? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Me Edson. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So the pressure is on already. I can't believe I'm making this video, and I can't believe I'm even saying it. I hate kind of making these videos, but it's out there. We've got to talk about it. The pressure is on already for some of these Premier League managers, and if they don't get results in the next couple of games, their jobs are on the line. In fact, their jobs may already be on the line. So who are we talking about? Who realistically are we looking at to be the first English Premier League manager to be sacked for the 2024-2025 season? Well, immediately you go to the foot of the table, wouldn't you? You go to Everton. They've played 3 games. They've lost all 3. They haven't been that impressive. They haven't played well at all. In their last game against Bournemouth, they were winning 2-0 into the closing minutes of the game, and then they lost 3-2 into added time. It was a poor end to that game for them and for their fans, of course. But who's at the helm? Sean Dyche. Now, of course, Sean Dyche has faced this last season as well. They didn't start too great, but they started to pick up some results thereafter. This weekend, Everton are away to Aston Villa, and in my predictions video, I basically said, no, it's going to be a home win for Aston Villa. I really can't see Everton getting a result. But if they surprise me and they do get a result, that probably will save Sean Dyche. It will save him for the time being, at least. But if he doesn't get a result there, but if Everton lose away to Aston Villa, and especially if they lose convincingly, the pressure is really going to be on for Sean Dyche. No doubt about it in my mind whatsoever. So really, at the foot of the table, Everton, they are under pressure. Of course, their fans are not very happy as well. But you've got to imagine that the manager is under a lot of pressure as well. Now, sitting in 14th, we're talking about Manchester United, of course. They've won 1 and lost 2. And not a great start to the season. In fact, a bit of a terrible start to the season for Manchester United. They haven't been playing well in the league for a couple of seasons. Yes, Erik ten Hag, he's won the League Cup, he's won the FA Cup. He's brought them trophies the last 2 seasons. But it's the league where everybody is focused on, where everybody's attention is on. They're scrutinising what Manchester United are doing, how they're playing, and how Erik ten Hag is acting, and the kind of tactics he's employing as well, and the decisions he's making, the in-game decisions as well. And it hasn't really been that impressive. They look like a group of individuals as opposed to a team, and everybody can see it. Now, with the money they've spent, you would think, well, he's got to get results straight away. He's got to. The pressure is on there. But there also might be the case, well, they spent all this money, they've invested all this money in Erik ten Hag and his choices, then maybe they just want to hold fire a little bit and see how he does. But if he doesn't get a result this weekend, if he doesn't get a result in the next couple of games and start winning games convincingly as well, then you've got to say that Erik ten Hag is under pressure as well. Will he be the first to go? I think he's second in line right now. I think he's absolutely second in line to Sean Dyche. But it's a very close one. This can easily change in the next couple of games. Now, of course, I could go through every team in the bottom half of the table right now, and you could say that every game that these teams lose, or they don't pick up 3 points, or at least pick up a single point, the pressure is going to be growing on them week by week. There's no doubt about it. Every team will be under pressure, and every manager will be under increasing pressure as well. And this is why it seems so ridiculous to be thinking about this so early on in the season. But that's the reality of the Premier League. That's the reality when you're starting to see big gaps build up between teams that are above you, and certainly teams that you should be beating but you falter. So Sean Dyche, for example, Erik ten Hag especially, because you would imagine that Manchester United would be perceived to be doing a lot better. But the other two teams right now that, their managers are under pressure. Southampton, Russell Martin, and also Wolverhampton Wanderers and Gary O'Neill as well. Again, if they don't pick up points in the next couple of games, the pressure is going to be increasing on those, because it's also about momentum, and it's also about the psychology of winning and the psychology of losing as well. Now to Wolves against Southampton, I would favour Gary O'Neill to keep his job. I would say Russell Martin is probably under increasing pressure as well. But make no mistake, all of these managers in the next few weeks are going to be under increasing pressure if they don't pick up results and don't pick up wins. If you are a fan of any of these teams that I've mentioned, or any other team in the bottom half of the league, let us know your thoughts. Are you putting pressure under your manager, under your players as well? Do you want better results? We all want better results as well. Do you think your team should have performed better so far this season? Or are you willing to give them a stay of execution? Let's just see how they go for 10, 15 games and see how they go. That's my way of thinking. I would definitely wait until after 10 or 15 games to see how they're going. Unless you've lost, let's say, 7 games on the bounce or 10 games on the bounce, then you've really got to start doing something, especially if you're at the foot of the table. But if you've picked up a couple of results here and there, but on the whole it hasn't been going so great, I would wait until at least 10 games into the season. That's where you can really start to see where you're at. But other people think differently. Other people think, no, after 3 or 4 games, if it's not going right, that's it. Change the manager. Let's change it up. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But for me, Sean Dyche is number 1. Erik ten Hag is number 2. And then Russell Martin, number 3 so far. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now. Okay, so we're back to the English Premier League Week 4. These are the match predictions. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me End. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So this is English Premier League Week 4. We're back from the international break. Phew. Let's get back into real club football, shall we? And some great games taking place throughout all the divisions. So I'm going to pick out a few of my top picks throughout all the different leagues. In the England, this is. But starting off with the English Premier League. So the early kick-off on Saturday, 14th of September, Southampton at home to Manchester United. Again, Manchester United not having a great time of it right now. Southampton indifferent, I would say. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here. If you're a Man United fan, you really should be hoping for an away win, of course, to kickstart your season. The excuse has been that Man United have come across some better teams, but now the next 2 or 3 games, they should pick up a lot of points. And I agree, they should be picking up points. But the way things are going right now for Man United and Erik ten Hag, I wouldn't bet on it. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here, possibly just sneaking in with a 2-1 away win for Man United. But more likely a 1-1 draw. Now on Saturday there are 5 3 p.m. kickoffs. The first being Brighton Hove Albion against Ipswich Town. I'm going to go for a home win, Brighton. I really can't see Ipswich doing anything there. Brighton are a very decent team and have proven to be so this season so far. So Brighton for a home win. Next is Crystal Palace at home to Leicester City. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw on this one. I think Leicester City have got goals on them, and I also feel that Crystal Palace are starting to find their feet a little bit. This is just going on the 3 previous games as well. I'm going to go for a draw, but I think it's a 2-2 draw. Next, Fulham at home to West Ham United. Now, as you know, I nail my colours to the West Ham mast, if that's the expression. I'm going to go for an away win, because we need to have an away win. I actually feel this could be a tough day at the office for West Ham. We haven't really done well against Fulham in the last couple of seasons, so it could be a home win here. In fact, I've got a sneaking feeling it could be a home win. West Ham have got a couple of injury blows through the international break as well, so they might just be limping over the line here. But as I say, I'm hopeful for an away win, but I've got a feeling it's going to be a Fulham home win here. So I'll go 1-0 Fulham. Now, one of my favourite games for Saturday is Liverpool at home to Nottingham Forest. I'm going to go for a Liverpool home win here. I think it's going to be quite a convincing win, but I also think it's going to be a very entertaining game here. Nottingham Forest do like to play on the front foot, and I think they're going to take it to Liverpool, but I just don't think they're going to have a lot of success. I think the class of Liverpool is going to shine through under Arne Slot, and the way they've just continued as they have been playing the last couple of years under Jurgen Klopp, of course. So no major changes for Liverpool. I'm going to go for a home win, but this is the game for Saturday for me. And the last game at 3 p.m. is Manchester City home at Brentford. The machine that is Manchester City. I really cannot see them losing at home to Brentford. Brentford have been playing well, no doubt. They have put in a couple of decent performances and got some great results as well. But I really can't see it being anything other than a home win for Manchester City. But I will give Brentford a goal. So I'm going to go 3-1 to Manchester City. And I wouldn't put it past Haaland to get another hat-trick either. Okay, the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday is Aston Villa at home to Everton. Everton under a lot of pressure. Sean Dyche, manager, under a lot of pressure as well. 3 games, no points, no wins, playing pretty awfully, lost terribly to Bournemouth in the last outing in the last few minutes, just 2-0 up and then just lost 3-2. So not going well for Everton at all, and their fans are long time suffering, I'm sure, and they're going to want to see changes as well. But against Aston Villa, I just can't see it. Aston Villa playing really well again under Unai Emery, and their players they're playing as a team rather than playing as a group of individuals, where I would see more Everton playing like a group of individuals. I really cannot see Everton winning here. I would bank them to get a goal, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 home win for Aston Villa. And the Saturday night game, 8 p.m. kickoff, Bournemouth at home to Chelsea, and I'm going to go for a Chelsea away win here. Yeah, starting to kick into life for Chelsea. Some very decent players. Cole Palmer, the standout for me so far, just playing fantastically well. You know, they haven't had it all their own way this season, Chelsea, but I think they're a much better team, a collective of players, and they're in better form than Bournemouth are, albeit that Bournemouth came away with a win against Everton last time out, but they didn't really play great for the bulk of that game as well. So I'm going to go for a Chelsea 2-0 away win. Okay, into the Championship League on Saturday. Just a couple of games to watch out for. Look out for the 3 o'clock kickoff at Watford at home to Coventry. Watford going great guns this season, and Coventry, a bit of a slow start, but still a very decent outfit here. I'm going to go for a home win for Watford. I've got faith in them. I've got a couple of pals who are Watford fans, and they're even surprised that Watford are doing so well this season, but it looks as if it's written in the stars for Watford in this game. Watford with a 2-1 win for me at home to Coventry. And the early kickoff on Saturday in the Championship is the 12:30 kickoff, Leeds at home to Burnley, and this is a top 6 clash. Both teams doing reasonably well this season, or started reasonably well, of course. So listen, this is going to be an interesting game to watch. Certainly 2 teams who like to play on the front foot as well. It'll be a very decent game to watch. So, but I'm going to go for an away win here for Burnley, and I'm going to go for a 1-0 away win. Okay, into League One on Saturday, and the first game I'm going to pick out is Stockport County in second position in the league. They're away to Crawley Town. Second versus 12th. Who's going to come out on top? I can't see anything but a Stockport County win here. They're going great guns this season, as are Wrexham as well, who play Birmingham on Monday night. And I'm going to go for a Birmingham home win in that game as well. But just to get back on Saturday, the game to look out for me is Crawley at home to Stockport County. And I'm going to go for a Stockport County away win. And a cheeky 2-1 win at that. Now, the early kickoff on Saturday in League One is at 12:30. Mansfield Town at home to Cambridge United. Again, Cambridge haven't really started well this season, still to find their feet, and Mansfield, they started reasonably well but have faltered in the last few games. But I feel the recent track record favours Mansfield Town in this game. I'm going to go for a narrow win for Mansfield Town, 2-1. That's for the early kickoff at 12:30. League 2, 3 p.m. on Saturday, a top 6 clash for me. The game of the afternoon is Walsall at home to Bradford City. Walsall playing at home, Bradford City away, and I'm going to go for a away win for Bradford City. Bradford coming off a win in their last game, whereas Walsall coming off a loss as well. So unless they can turn it around, Walsall, I favour the momentum is ever so slightly with Bradford City. So a 2-1 win for Bradford City. And last but by no means least, the other top tip for League 2 is Gillingham at home to Tranmere Rovers, 4th against 10th. Who's going to win? I'm going to go for a home win with Gillingham, and I'm going to go 2-0 for Gillingham. Okay, back to the English Premier League for Sunday, and the game of Week 4 is obviously Tottenham Hotspur at home to Arsenal. Who's going to win this great North London derby? They really don't like each other, these two. I'm going to go for an Arsenal away win. That's going to put pressure on Tottenham. It's going to put pressure on their manager, Ange Postecoglou. But I've got a feeling that it's going to be Arsenal's day. But I'll tell you what, there's going to be lots of fireworks in this game. There always is. There always is. And a few surprises and a few corking goals as well. I'm going to go for a 3-1 away win for Arsenal. And last but by no means least, the 4:30 kickoff on Sunday, Wolverhampton Wanderers at home to Newcastle United. It really has to be a Newcastle away win here on form, based on form. But form doesn't always tell the whole story. Newcastle 5th, Wolverhampton Wanderers 18th. Newcastle with 2 wins and a draw. And Wolverhampton Wanderers with 2 losses and a draw. You would favour Newcastle United, of course you would. The writing is surely on the wall for Newcastle United to come away with a 2-1 away win. Maybe even 3-1 away win. But I'm going to go for Wolverhampton Wanderers to get their first win of the season. So for me, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Newcastle United 0. So there we go. That's a Week 4 English Premier League and match predictions, and then a couple of other top picks through the English leagues as well. Let us know your predictions as well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for future videos. And I will catch you again in another video coming very soon. Bye now. So Week 2 of the English Premier League has just finished, and well, I think I got my prediction pretty much bang on. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to me, Edson. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So Week 2 of the English Premier League has just finished, and some decent results over the weekend, especially for my team, West Ham United, who went away to Crystal Palace and won 2-0. But my prediction for the game was kind of, it's not going to have many fireworks, and it didn't. For about 50-60 minutes, it wasn't a great game to watch. I kind of said that, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a draw, so I got that wrong. But I'm pleased I got that wrong. But I think every other prediction, I think I got right. Yeah, I think I did. Brighton, I said, would win at home to Manchester United. Manchester United just do not look at the races. And it seems as if they've carried over what they had last year. So not convincing for me. But for Brighton, just keep on going from strength to strength. Manchester City, another very decent display. Hat-trick from Haaland, wasn't it, as well? Arsenal, again, another great display from them as well against Aston Villa. But all around, some decent games over the weekend. But I say my predictions were, yeah, I think I had them just about right. So I'm not saying you put any money down, on my predictions. I'm not saying that at all. But, okay, not bad. I'm quite chuffed for myself. I usually get them completely wrong, by the way. But I kind of looked at them analytically, and I thought, well, they're not playing too well, and they haven't signed very well. So, and this stage of the season, we know it's very hard to know which way your team's going to go. But now, moving on to week 3, next weekend, some bangers again. But in between them, we've got the English League Cup fixtures that are coming on. So that's happening on Tuesday and Wednesday night of the ex-Carabao Cup as well. So that's kicking on, and all the Premier League teams are involved in that as well. Bar those ones that are in Europe as well. I think they come into the next round. But yeah, some decent ties there as well. So watch out for that Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm not going to go through the fixtures there. This is more looking ahead to next weekend and the fixtures of the English Premier League. And as I say, keep on saying, don't ignore the Championship League 1 and League 2, and also some of the other leagues as well, but especially Championship League 1, League 2 here. Some cracking fixtures and some cracking results. Certainly, let's say in the Championship, I thought Burnley were going to, walk away with it, 2 great wins, and all of a sudden they come unstuck at the weekend as well. So look, Championship is just a great league to watch as well, but go check that out. Anyway, English Premier League week 3 coming up. Then there's going to be an international break as well, so some humdingers this coming weekend. So let's have a look at these. So an intriguing one for the early kickoff on Saturday 12:30. Arsenal at home to Brighton. Who's going to win here? This is going to be a real test for Arsenal. Mark my words. Brighton Hove Albion, and no mugs, I keep on saying it. I'm going to go for a home win with Arsenal, because I think they do look a class above, and they look like a proper team. But don't underestimate Brighton. I think it could be a draw here on this one. This could be a draw. But this one is going to be a really entertaining game. Arsenal against Brighton, 12:30 kickoff. Okay, for the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we've got Brentford against Southampton. I would say this is going to be a home win for Brentford, possibly a 1-0 affair. Tony is out the door somewhere, isn't he, as well? So it'd be very interesting to see what happens there as well. Everton are at home to Bournemouth. Everton still looking for their first win of the season. Bournemouth, holding their own in the Premier League. So I will go for a draw on this one as well. Great little fixture as well for the next one. Ipswich Town against Fulham. Ipswich just had 2 of the worst fixtures. Liverpool against Manchester City in the first 2 fixtures. Now they're at home to Fulham. Could this be the fixture that they get points on the board? They've been playing decent football as far as I can tell of what I've seen. But we're up against Fulham. Let's just see how they do. I'll go for a cheeky home win here for Ipswich Town, but I'm not too sure about that one either. I'm going to say Fulham, I'd say a decent outfit. They made a couple of good signings. Smith Rowe from Arsenal, I thought was a very good signing as well. So watch out for Fulham as well. Leicester City at home to Aston Villa. Again, Leicester faltering. Also news coming out that they could face even more charges. We kind of knew this was going on. And obviously former manager as well. Sadly, Eriksson, former England manager Eriksson, Sven-Göran Eriksson, died today at the age of 76. So yeah, commiserations to him and his family, of course. But for Leicester City against Aston Villa, I'm going for an Aston Villa away win. And the last of the 3 o'clock kickoffs is Nottingham Forest against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I was kind of impressed with Wolves in the first half against Chelsea, and then they completely folded in their 6-2 defeat. And Nottingham Forest coming off that 1-0 win as well. They got 4 points on the board. So I would go for a home win on this one. Nottingham Forest with a small margin win. I would say a 1-0 win at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now for the early evening kickoff at 5:30 on Saturday night. West Ham United against Manchester City. With every fibre in my being, I'm hoping for a West Ham United win, of course. And I'm going to say we're going to smash City 6-0. But the reality is it's going to be a Manchester City away win. At the very best, I would say possibly a draw. But who am I kidding? Manchester City to win that one, and it pains me to say that too. Okay, on to Sunday fixtures and the 1:30 kickoff. Chelsea against Crystal Palace. Chelsea at home. I'm going for a Chelsea win, especially after an emphatic 6-2 victory the other day against Wolverhampton Wanderers. So Chelsea against Crystal Palace, home win. And also the 1:30 kickoff, Newcastle United against Tottenham Hotspur. Newcastle just haven't really been at the races. I would say, they're getting a lot of criticism from quarters, from ex-players and all that kind of stuff. So I would say this is likely to go to a draw. I think they're going to pick themselves up a little bit and go for a draw here. It could end up an away win for Tottenham. I would say they would edge it. If anybody's going to win it, I'd say it's going to be a Tottenham, but I'm going to go for a draw in this fixture. And last, but by no means least, the 4 o'clock kickoff on Sunday, the tie of the fixture. It's Manchester United at home to Liverpool. A faltering Manchester United, in my opinion. Liverpool just hit the ground running under Arne Slot. I'm going to go for a Manchester United win. I've just got a feeling they're going to pull something out of the bag and beat Liverpool. Now, it could be a complete disaster where Liverpool go and beat them 6-0 or something ridiculous like that. But I've just got a feeling that all of a sudden Man United might come good just for this one game and beat Liverpool. Let us know your thoughts on that one. So there we go, week 3 of the English Premier League. Those are your fixtures, those are my predictions. And then we got the international break for the Nations League fixtures. Boo-hoo, I'm not really into that, I've got to say. I much prefer club football, but there we go, that's just me. But I'll still be interested to see how the nations do. But English Premier League returns then on the 14th of September, and I'll be back for those fixtures as well. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos, and I will catch you again in another video coming very soon. Well, maybe in a couple of weeks after Nations League. Ta-da! The Carabao Cup is an absolute disgrace. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to me, Ed Son. Hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So out on the road here, but I just had to remark on the Carabao Cup last night and the night before, the games that went on. Some interesting results. 3 Premier League teams went out. Bournemouth went out, Ipswich Town went out, and Nottingham Forest went out as well. But the main talking point, I'm sure you all heard is now, is that the draw for the 3rd round thereafter, the teams in Europe were always given a bye, and they've done this for the last couple of years. And West Ham, my team, they've been beneficiaries of this for the last couple of years. So I don't have an issue with that per se, although I do believe that they shouldn't be given a bye. They should go in the 2nd round as it is. But what happened was all the teams in Europe this year were not only given a bye into the 3rd round, but they were also guaranteed not to play each other. And also, the first 4 that were drawn out the hat in a previous preliminary draw, let's say, were guaranteed to play at home. So that means that my team, West Ham, first out the hat, they played at home to Liverpool. So we're playing away at Liverpool. So Liverpool can't play Man City. They can't play Arsenal or anything like that. There was never a choice of this. There's never a chance of that. Now, for me, that is pure and simple match fixing. That is pure and simple corruption at the very core. Regardless of whether my team is in Europe or not, if this happened last season, I'll be spitting feathers as well, because it's supposed to be an even playing field. When you go into the draw, it's supposed to be an even playing field. There's no seeding, there's nothing like this, there's no favoritism. You can Premier League team can be fighting a minnow in the next round, or vice versa, or 2 Premier League teams go head to head. Why do they get favoritism? What, so they can secure a better run in Europe? Absolute nonsense. It's made a mockery of the Carabao Cup. It's made a mockery of professional football, and it's made a mockery of us as the fans. Absolute disgrace. From one side of it, I actually want to see every one of those teams get knocked out in the next round. Not anything against those teams, but more against a protest against the Carabao Cup. I mean, what kind of a dickhead comes up with this kind of policy? What kind of bunch of numpties agree to it and think this is a good idea? What kind of bunch of twats, on the sports media, the official sports media, haven't really come out and said anything bad about it? And I certainly didn't know anything about it before it was going on. I thought it was absolutely disgrace. But as I say, I know West Ham, my team, are still in the cup, and I'm going to support them. But at the same time, I'm very much thinking, you know what? Boycott it. Just can't be arsed with it. Can't be arsed with it season. Next season, they've got to drop this. They've absolutely got to drop this. If you're with me on that, let us know your thoughts. But it's got to be an even playing field for all teams. Otherwise, what's the point in having a cup competition?
There's no point in having it, because if the top teams are going to be favoured, and you know why they're doing it, they want to protect those top teams, or the ones that are finished higher in the league and in Europe, because they want them ultimately to have a much better chance of featuring in the semi-finals and the finals, and that's where they can draw a bigger crowd or bigger TV audience. Absolute disgrace, absolute farce. And for me, the Carabao Cup, EFL, just completely let themselves down. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And you never know, I might come back with another rant very soon. Ta-da now. So, who's made the best transfer this window? It's closing tonight. Was it just before midnight as well? So, yeah, who's made the best transfer? You know, who's made some shocking transfer buys and some sales as well? There's been quite a bit of to and fro, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more as well. But I'm going to give you one name that I think is a little bit suspect. Federico Chiesa, who's gone to Liverpool from Juventus. He's been injury prone. He had a great Euros 3 years ago, 2021, when Italy won it. But actually, ever since then, he's been injured. He hasn't been on form. And then in this last Euros for Italy, he was absolutely atrocious. Watch the way he played. He couldn't even control the ball. He was terrible. But Liverpool have paid 13 odd million, 12.5 million for him in the hope that he's going to come good. Well, I'll tell you what, he might be happy, but he might have shot himself in the foot here, because in the Italian League Serie A, he might have been able to hide a little bit more. Different pace of the game, different league altogether. He'd probably shine a little bit more. But in the Premier League and the way he plays, I'm not convinced by that one at all. But I tell you what, it will be an interesting sight to see Chiesa in the Premier League, to see how he does. And well, obviously Liverpool have faith in him, but you know, it'd be interesting to see why Juventus only sold him for 12.5 million, and maybe he hasn't got a lot of value, and you would think, well, why Liverpool paying 12.5 million for him? But look, there's been lots of other players coming and going. You know, I think my team's done really well, other teams have done really well in the transfer. Chelsea, much maligned, much kind of criticised for their transfer policy, but again, they're selling players. They've got a long-term strategy. We're paying a little bit less salary, but on a longer term, so that kind of offsets a lot. And people are starting to wake up and think, well, actually, maybe it's not a bad idea the way Chelsea are doing it. And, you know, they're buying players left, right and centre. So you kind of think, what's going on there? But I say, a lot more to come, I'm sure. But here's a final question. What do you think of your players that you've bought? What do you think of your players that you sold? But also, do you think the transfer window needs to change? For me, it does completely. It has to start on the 1st of June, let's say, and it has to end the night before the domestic season starts. You can only buy players up until that point. However, you can sell to other leagues around the world up until the point of their domestic season starts. That's the way I would work it. So you can sell players to any other nation, but you can only buy the day before or the night before the season starts. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I really don't like the thought of starting a season, then you've got another couple of weeks where you can still keep on buying players. I think you start the season with your lot, with your roster. That's it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I'll catch you again. Bye now.
So the UEFA Champions League starts this week. Let's get into this farce and fiasco. Hello, welcome to Tommy Son. Hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell for future videos. So this week starts the new look to the UEFA Champions League. Next week it's the Europa League, and I think the week after it's the Conference League that's starting for real in the same kind of format. But this new league, if it ain't broke, why fix it? But did it need fixing in the first place? Let's face it, the whole Champions League is a whole misnomer anyway, because it's not the Champions League. It's not the champions of each individual league that go and fight it out in a knockout competition, just like the European Cup used to be. Oh no, it has to be 4 or 5 champions from each individual league, you know, and then you put them in a pot and then you scramble it all up and it's all about seeding. It all comes a bit of a nonsense. But this year, They've done away with the group stage and they've got one big league. So you basically had, 8 seeded teams, and they had this weird algorithm where they're all playing against the other teams in the end of the league. And then what would happen is, once they finish their matches, the top 8 will go through to the round of 16. From 9 to 24th position, that's another 16 places. They would have a playoff, a 2-leg playoff. So another 8 teams, the winners of those playoffs, would go into the last 16 as well. So you got 36 teams now as opposed to 32. And of course, you're going to get the big teams sometimes playing the smaller teams as well. And sometimes you're going to get 2 smaller teams playing. It's just, look, is it any real different to the group stages in terms that you'd have seeded teams in there and then you'd play the minnows as well from other leagues around Europe? Yeah, I suppose in that respect, it's no real difference. But as I say, why do you need to do this? And it does smack of extra revenue, just trying to get more clubs involved. And even in their promo, they weren't allowed to say Super League, were they? But it kind of is. It smacks of that. This is what UEFA were always planning to do, just to revamp everything and change it. And I say, look, am I ranting? Am I moaning about it? Yeah, because I've kind of gone off the boil for Champions League a little bit. One, because it's not champions against champions. Let's just say from the Premier League. Who have you got? You've had Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Leicester, of course, that one-off year, who've gone on there. But even within those individual years, the top 4, they've been able to play in the Champions League. Only, I believe, when Liverpool won it and they didn't finish in the top 4, were they allowed to go into the Champions League the next season. So effectively, it was the top 5 from the Premier League that went in. Well, that's not champions, is it? Now, you could argue that every winning team of the individual league goes through as champions, and the champion of the Europa League, they get an automatic slot in there as well. I would buy that, no problem. But look, that's the best against the best. This is what we want, really. It's the best against the best, and this isn't the best. This is just a way of getting more teams in, more games. And look, you could argue, hey, this is what we want. I get it. A lot of people are going to say this is what we want. And look, this week, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're going to have all the first league fixtures in this new Champions League setup. I mean, there are some decent games. Let's have a look on Tuesday. You've got Juventus at home to PSV. Aston Villa away to Young Boys. I would say Aston Villa are going to win that one. Bayern Munich, a bit of a slippery one against Dynamo Zagreb. Real Madrid at home to Stuttgart. And Sporting at home to Lille. But the match of the night is definitely Milan at home to Liverpool. That's the one that everybody's going to want to watch, right? Unless you're a fan of the other teams, of course. But that's the one you're going to watch. Milan against Liverpool. That's a revisiting of those 2 Champions League finals from a few years ago. That's the one we all want to watch, right? But Milan haven't been playing so great. Liverpool been playing pretty decent so far. Okay, obviously they lost at the weekend, but should be a decent game. Wednesday, the fixtures don't really pop out and say, I desperately want to watch that. You got Bologna at home to Shakhtar Donetsk, Sparta Prague at home to Salzburg, Celtic at home to Slovan Bratislava, Club Brugge at home to Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, that might be a decent game to watch. PSG at home to Girona. But the game of the night, again, is Manchester City at home to Inter Milan or Internazionale. That's the game to watch. So all the other teams, unless you are one of the fans of those teams, you're going to be watching Man City against Inter, aren't you? That's it. So it's one game that really pops out. And Thursday in the Champions League, again, equally kind of, disappointing in many ways. You've got Crvena Zvezda at home to Benfica. You've got Feyenoord at home to Bayer Leverkusen. That'd be a decent game, we've got it in all fairness. Atletico Madrid at home to RB Leipzig. Again, I'm not too sure with the way Madrid play, quite a dull way of playing at times. RB Leipzig, it really depends what game they bring. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that game. Brest at home to Sturm Graz, and Monaco at home to Barcelona. Okay, that might be mildly entertaining. But let's face it, the game that most people are going to want to watch is Atalanta at home to Arsenal, just to see if Atalanta can continue in the way they were playing last season. And obviously Arsenal, the way they've started and the season they had last season, whether they can bring a show as well. But really, each night, it's only one game that you're really interested in from a neutral's perspective. Of course, if you're the fan of these other teams, you're going to be interested in that and only that. But from a neutral's point of view, you kind of think, eh. So I wonder what the whole change is for. I wonder what the point of this is for. And again, it's all about changing something for change's sake. It's about trying to get more teams in. It's about making it more appealing and more money flowing into it. And I think it's just a bit of a limp squid, really. And I just don't buy it. I just don't buy the whole seeding of this. I just don't buy the whole way it was done. I just think it's a bit naff. For me, I'm a bit of an old dog when it comes to these things. You know, I'd say if it's a Champions League, they have to be champions. That's what I want to see. I would much prefer this to be completely scrapped, get away from this Champions League, all this UEFA top four league that they've developed over the last few years, which is the most popular in the world, and I get it, and everybody gets enthusiastic about it. But I might be the lone voice here. I might be the one that you're all saying, God, he's a moaning twat. But at least if they did away with all this and just had champions in, then it would be a Champions League. I would even say this, right? If you wanted to have a Champions League, then you could take the champions of the leagues and the cups, wherever they are, one cup, let's say an FA Cup or, the Coppa Italia, whatever, they'd be champions. You could put them in a Champions League, and then you could have the other positions, let's say second, third, fourth, whatever, for a Europa League. And then you could have fifth and sixth, let's say, for a Conference League, whatever it is. I would buy that. I would completely buy that. But let's just say if you won a Coppa Italia, but you also won the league. Well, in normal terms, you would have the runners-up that would go into the European competition. Well, no, there would be none of that. The Europa League, let's say the runners-up, you could say would have to go into the Conference League. They can't go into Europa League, and they certainly can't go into the Champions League. The Champions League has to be for champions. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But did it need to change? I don't think it needed to change. The way it was working fine. This is just a way of getting more teams involved, more money into the game, extracting more money, more television deals, and I say, didn't think it needed it. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you looking forward to the Champions League, the league of top fours? I kind of am and kind of aren't. I'll be much happier when it gets through this whole group stage or this league stage and you get to the knockout phase. That's when you're going to see what's what. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for future videos. But the Champions League, the revamped Champions League, look, let's see how it does. Let's give it a go and see how it works out. And I'm sure, look, once we got used to it for a couple of years, we'll all be singing its praises again. But for me, I still stand by Champions League should be for champions alone. Catch you again. Bye now. So the Man City court case begins. Will they survive? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Edson. So the Manchester City, 115 FA charges against them. That court case has started this week. A bit of cloak and dagger stuff. Barristers going into the court very secretly. Nobody able to get any sound bites, any quotes or anything like that. So it's all behind closed doors thus far. And over the coming weeks, because this is going to ramble on for weeks, of course, you might get the odd insight, the odd snippet here and there. But it's interesting that it's taken the FA so long to bring this case to court. Manchester City, for their part, they're saying, no, we've got evidence here. We've got evidence that we've done nothing wrong. Nothing has been done wrong here. And we're going to prove nothing's done wrong. This is only ever going to go one way. Lesser teams with less funds will probably not be so lucky. Manchester City, with all their funds, with all their resources, all the financial backing, of course, are able to hire the best legal team out there, whereas other teams probably wouldn't. So when you got the likes of Everton, Nottingham Forest, Leicester City, let's say, who have been rightly so penalised, then you kind of look at Manchester City and say, well, why haven't they been penalised? I've said this in previous videos. I do believe that the FA have handled this completely wrong right from the word go. Instead of just going after full 115 charges or whatever it is, why don't they just piecemeal it? Why don't they just break it up?
But, again, a lot of this could have been done and dusted, and it could have been done over a period of years if the case was just too big. But, oh no, we've gotten to this point where the FA are pushing, Man City are pushing back. They've got the financial might to do it. They're fortunate in that case. But could we be seeing, as people are predicting, that if the FA win, this could be a Manchester City being relegated? Could it mean that they're losing so many points this season that even if they don't get relegated, they won't even make Europe next season? Maybe it's a case that will be prevented from entering European competition for the next 5 years or so. It could be that they're not able to enter the transfer market. They'll have a transfer embargo for a few years. Who knows? Who knows what the final punishment is going to be here? But these are very serious charges. And it's all to do with within a certain time period, not in recent years, but in a certain time period. I think it's up until 2018. And it's all to do with back-end stuff. So it's not really to do with, the way they've managed their team or any kind of coal-face cheating, as it were. This is all kind of back-end stuff. So that's why it's a bit hard to understand. It's also a bit difficult to explain from the FA's position, also Manchester City's position in the open. That's why lots of commentators, pundits are kind of grabbing at straws, because we don't really know to what point these FA charges I wouldn't say legitimate, but at what point will they stick? The same for Man City's defence. How valid is their defence? What evidence do they really have? Now, obviously, this is all going to come out in the court case, but at some point, that's going to have to be made public knowledge. And when the final decision is made, then we're really going to know the full extent of what has been going on of Manchester City and all their dealings behind the scenes. Now, how will this affect the team as the club? Pep Guardiola, will he stay on? I think there's always been rumours that, well, if they are found guilty, then he's off ski. He's going off somewhere else. Will that be the case? Who knows? What about the players? Will they decide to go as well? Will there be so many sanctions imposed on Manchester City and the ownership that they say, do you know what, we're just going to let this club go to rack and ruin, or we're going to sell up and just take a loss and we'll just go somewhere else? Who knows? We could see the crumbling of Manchester City as we know it right now. But the immediate sanction could be a hefty penalty sanction, or it could even be so much so that they are relegated or suffer sanctions that's going to hinder them for the next 5 or 6 years. These are serious allegations, as we know. The repercussions, if they're found guilty, could send shockwaves not only throughout the whole of the Premier League, but also the cups that they've won in recent years as well. So there's going to have to be a decision to say, well, is this going to be retrospectively actioned, or is it going to be just action from this point onwards? It really depends. I mean, what you're going to see. You're going to strip them of all their titles. You're going to strip them of all their cup wins. You're going to strip them of whatever accolades they've got. I think that's going a step too far in that respect. But you could argue that they've won those illegitimately based upon what's been going on behind the scenes. I'm not here to say whether that's right or not, but what I will say is that the whole process has been a sham. The whole process from the FA and from Manchester City, and the way they've dealt with this, and the way that it's almost been an isolated case, and they've been given preferential treatment, whereas other clubs haven't been given that preferential treatment. Granted, the other clubs haven't had as many charges levied against them, whereas Manchester City have, but that's the FA's fault. They shouldn't have levied all of those charges in one big hit. They should have piecemealed them together or just sectioned them off in smaller chunks. That's what they should have done. But oh no, we're dealing with the FA here. So do Man City have a real case to defend themselves against this? But more importantly, do they have the financial might, which I believe they do, to have the best legal defence against possibly not the strongest prosecution from the FA? Do the FA have the funds to be able to take this all the way? Either way, this could be a financial ruin for both club and institution. The ramifications just could go on and on and on. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We're going to find out a lot more in the coming weeks, of course. I believe it's been dealt with in a very poor manner, certainly from the FA, but also from Manchester City as well. I don't believe both parties have covered themselves in glory, but again, Manchester City are only defending their position. Whether they're right or wrong, we'll soon find out. FA are also only defending their position or prosecuting their position as well. So we'll find out what happens, but ultimately we're going to find out what the
what the net result of this is for both club and the FA and for the rest of the league as well. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell for all future videos, and I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now. So English Premier League Week 5 match predictions coming right up. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On the Edson. So this video is the Week 5 of the English Premier League match predictions and some interesting games throughout the week. Obviously you had the Champions League, we've had EFL round 3 matches as well. Some interesting winners and losers in terms of the Premier League teams involved. Aston Villa getting a great win away to Young Boys in the Champions League. Manchester United getting a 7-0 win at home to Barnsley in the AFL Cup third round. Liverpool coming from behind to get a 3-1 win away at Milan as well. Some winners and losers out there, but the key thing here is that whether that form in midweek, in whichever cup competition the teams are in, whether they can bring that on to the games at the weekend in the Premier League. So let's dig into it straight away. Okay, so the early kickoff on Saturday is West Ham United at home to Chelsea. So West Ham coming away with a 1-1 draw at Fulham last time out, late equaliser Danny Ings. Chelsea coming away with a 1-0 win. You got a favour on form. Chelsea should be the winners here, but West Ham do have a habit of upsetting the apple cart when it comes to Chelsea in recent years as well. So for this game, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. So for the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we've got Aston Villa against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Again, all I can say is Aston Villa are going to go for a home win here. They had a great win in the midweek as well. They won last weekend as well against Everton 3-2. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got a few goals in this game as well, but a home win for Aston Villa. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 Aston Villa in this game. Next up, Fulham at home to Newcastle United. Both teams have got goals in them. Both on their day can produce the goods so far this season. But I'm going to go for an away win for Newcastle. I think they've got the momentum on their side. They got goals in them as well. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win for Newcastle United. Same as last time for them. Next up, Leicester City at home to Everton. Everton, again, not able to get a win this season. They were knocked out in the EFL third round cup on penalties granted to Southampton during the week. But their fans, they're not happy, quite rightly so. But they're wondering when's the next win going to come from? When's the next result? When's the next draw going to come from as well? So they're away to Leicester City. Leicester City on an okay run of form as well. But I'm going to go for a Leicester 2-1 win, so more trouble for Everton, I'm afraid. Okay, the next kickoff, Liverpool at home to Bournemouth. Again, Liverpool with a surprising loss in Nottingham Forest in the last week's game. However, great comeback against Milan in the Champions League in the week as well. They won 3-1. So I'm going to favour Liverpool in this game. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Liverpool. So next up on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff, Southampton at home to Ipswich Town. This, I think, is going to be quite a tight affair. Ipswich Town did really well last time out against Brighton Hove Albion, whereas Southampton did really quite poorly against Manchester United, losing 3-0. So I'm going to go for an away win here for Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town 1, Southampton 0. And the last of the 3 o'clock kickoffs for Saturday is Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur at home to Brentford. Yep, and I'm afraid the indifferent form of Tottenham may carry into this game as well. Brentford, whilst they lost 2-1 to Man City last weekend, they impressed a lot of people as well, and especially the way they're playing under their manager as well. He's getting lots of plaudits, lots of praise from many different quarters, and quite rightly so. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win to Brentford in this game. And yeah, I can imagine that's going to upset a lot of Spurs fans, but there you go. And finally, the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday is Crystal Palace at home to Manchester United. Manchester United, of course, getting that emphatic 7-0 win at home to Barnsley in the EFL Cup third round. But also Crystal Palace came away with a win away to QPR as well, 2-1. I thought QPR were going to sneak that game, but they proved me wrong. So, look, this could go either way again, but I'm going to favour Manchester United. I think the momentum is probably on their side. A lot of their players are going to get a lot of confidence in those 2 last performances away to Southampton and obviously at home to Barnsley as well. Granted, a lower league club, but they really did smash them. So That's going to carry them forward into this game. So I'm going to go for an away win for Manchester United. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 away win. Now on to Sunday Premier League fixtures. There's a cracker of a game. But first, a 2 o'clock kickoff. It's Brighton Hove Albion at home to Nottingham Forest. Brighton with a 0-0 draw last time out, and Nottingham Forest with that great win away to Liverpool last time out, that 1-0 victory. So again, this could be an interesting game. I still really rate Brighton very highly. Again, you've got to look at Nottingham Forest in the way they play on the front foot as well. It is quite dynamic at times. So looking at these two teams, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one, a 2-2 draw. So yeah, it could go either way. I've got to say, it could be a Brighton win, could be a Forest win. But sticking right on the fence here with goals 2-2. But let's be under no illusions. The game of week 5 in the Premier League on Sunday afternoon at 4:30 is Manchester City at home to Arsenal. Who's going to win? The master against the apprentice who would be king. Pep Guardiola against Mikel Arteta. Man City against Arsenal. Playing very similar styles. They're both at the top of the table. They were duking it out last season. It looks as if they're going to be duking it out again this season. Who's got the goals in them? Who's got the better players? I think you're going to be looking at Man City for an overall package. And their goal machine up front, which is Erling Haaland as well. Whereas Arsenal kind of lack in that department. They've still got goals on them, of course, but they don't have that strong number 9. And that's what they've been looking for. Many of their fans have been calling for that. That's probably one of the criticisms of their season. But they have bought well as well. So they've had a great start to the season as well. They've had 3 wins, 1 draw. Manchester City 100%, 4 wins. Erling Haaland just scoring goals for fun, hat-trick after hat-trick. He almost had another hat-trick last weekend out. In fact, he should have had a hat-trick as well. But I'm going to go for a Man City home win here, and this could really define the season. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Manchester City win. Again, this could be egg on my face because it could easily be an Arsenal away win here, or it could easily end up being a draw. It's one of those games really hard to call because they're very similar in styles. They're very similar in the way they play at times. However, Man City have that ingredient, that magic ingredient in Haaland that Arsenal do not possess. That's why I think it's going to lean towards Man City. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell for all future videos, and I will catch you again. Another video coming very soon. Bye now. So week 4 in the Premier League is done and dusted. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Tommy Edson. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for future videos. So week 4, English Premier League, done. Results are in, and going by my predictions, I kind of got around about 65-70% right. Not necessarily on the scores, but on the results. Some I got completely wrong. So let's just get into it straight away. The first match of the day on Saturday was Southampton at home to Manchester United. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than it was. I thought there was probably going to be a 1-1 draw. Possibly Man United come away with a tight 2-1 away victory, but it was nothing like that at all. Really, Manchester United just kind of dominated for most of the game. And, the 2 goals in the first half and the third in the second. And, Southampton just look poor. And Russell Martin, Southampton manager, I'm afraid, the tactics weren't great either. But he's going to be under increasing pressure, not only from his fans, but also from the board, I'm sure. And it really depends, as I said, in who's going to get sacked first this season. These are the managers who are going to come under increasing pressure. So Russell Martin at Southampton. Not a great day for Southampton fans, of course. And Manchester United, look, if you're a Man United fan, does this kind of paper over the cracks now? Is this the Band-Aid that you needed? Or is it still not all sunshine and roses for you guys? Let us know in the comments below. But Manchester United come away with a win that pushes them up the table to 10th with 6 points now. So they've reclaimed a little bit, but as I say, it hasn't been a great start for Eric Ten Hag and Manchester United, but this will go a long way to appeasing a lot of people. Now, another game I got completely wrong because I thought Brighton Hove Albion against Ipswich Town would be a more of a Brighton win. I couldn't really see them losing, but fair play to Ipswich Town. They came out there, they gave it a good go. Brighton had their chances, Ipswich Town, they both had chances, but it was a tight affair overall, and look, it was a 0-0 draw. What can going to say. I got that one completely wrong. I thought it was going to be a Brighton home win, a quite convincing win, but hey, what can I say? You know, at least they both came away with a point. So both sets of fans have got to be pretty happy with that. But if you're a Brighton fan, I would say you were leaning towards a win on that game. Now, Crystal Palace against Leicester City, again, a 2-2 draw here. I thought it would be a draw, but I didn't think it would be a high-scoring draw. A pretty decent game there for Crystal Palace and Leicester City there. Again, both sets of fans, I think, would be kind of relieved you came away with a draw there. But Leicester City not doing too bad this season, and Crystal Palace sort of finding their feet as well. So a fair result for both teams, I would say. And considering Leicester in 15th position and Crystal Palace in 16th position, it kind of reflects where they're at this stage of the season. Now, the next game, again, I got completely wrong, really. It was Fulham against West Ham United. Well, I was almost correct in that I thought it was going to be a 1-0 win to Fulham. And in the very last minute, Danny Ings for West Ham just got an equalising goal. But it wasn't looking good for West Ham in this game as well. I was hopeful, of course, for a cheeky away win. But, you know, the form hasn't been great. And, you know, West Ham are still not firing all cylinders, especially with the players they got. The midfield isn't really clicking. It's not dynamic enough, certainly up front as well. So a lot of work to be done for Lopetegui for West Ham. Fulham, I thought, you know, really you could say that they deserved the win. It was only that last-minute winner from Danny Ings, or that last-minute equaliser, I should say, that saved the embarrassment, really. But that now leaves Fulham in 12th and West Ham in 14th. Now, the surprise of the day, Liverpool at home to Nottingham Forest. I thought it was going to be an easy win for Liverpool. 3-1 I was predicting. I didn't say it in the video. Actually, I had to put a note afterwards on the channel, or a post on the channel, to say it was going to be a 3-1. How wrong was I? But I did say that Nottingham Forest would come to play. They would like to play on the front foot as well. And fair play, they did just exactly that. A 1-0 away win for Nottingham Forest. A great result for them. This is the first time in many a year that they've actually gone to Anfield and won. So congratulations to them. And look, is this the reality of a Liverpool season? You know, you can have some great wins, but you might trip over every now and again. So these are things to work out for Arne Slot, of course. These are tactics he's got to overcome, you know, opposition that are going to bring a game to them as well. But Liverpool, now they're sitting in 4th on 9 points. That's 3 points lost, where they could have been level pegging with Man City, who are sitting top of the tree. 4 wins out of 4 games. You know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? They've lost 3 points now, and they've slipped up, really. Let's face it, they've slipped up. However, Nottingham Forest have gone from strength to strength. They're now in 7th position with 8 points. So well done, Forest. Well done indeed. Now, Man City were at home to Brentford. Brentford with a very early goal, and then Man City eventually coming away with a 2-1 win. I was predicting a Haaland hat-trick. He got 2. He could have had 3 or 4, actually. So I was almost right with there as well. But at least the result I predicted was right. But Brentford gave Man City a really good game there as well. So this is good news for Brentford fans, you know, in terms of their projection for the season. You know, if they can do this to Man City, you know, they just need to convert these losses or almost draws to draws and wins, of course, against the bigger teams. But let's see how that goes. But Man City, of course, they're just the machine that just keep on winning, aren't they? And Haaland, another 2 goals. I mean, he's just the goal machine. But they are the team to beat. Let's face it, they are the team to beat. So Man City now sitting right at the top of the tree, 4 wins out of 4. And Brentford now in 9th position with 6 points. Now, the 2 evening games, I predicted these right, not on scoreline, but I predicted these right. Aston Villa at home to Everton. Everton, again, 2-0 up, and they lost 3-2 to Aston Villa. Sean Dyche really under serious pressure here, but at least they're scoring goals. At least they're giving it a go. That's certainly the last 2 games. So that's got to be some kind of comfort, albeit, you know, you're not getting the results. But that's 4 losses out of 4 for Sean Dyche and Everton. Everton fans, let us know what you think of that. But Aston Villa just going from strength to strength, of course, under Unai Emery. They are a team. They just don't give up. They will score. And a good outfit this season, as they were last season as well. So Aston Villa now sitting in 5th position with 9 points, and obviously Everton at the bottom of the table with 0 points. And the evening game on Saturday night was Bournemouth at home to Chelsea. Chelsea coming away with a 1-0 win, as I predicted, really. I thought possibly that Bournemouth might get a goal in this, and maybe Chelsea might get a couple of extra goals. I thought it would be a more of a wider scoreline than it was. But look, a win's a win. Chelsea fans, you've got to feel happy about that, and perhaps not in the way that you're playing at times, but certainly in the result. The result is all important here. And Maresca seems to have got a tune out of the Chelsea players now, so fair play to him and fair play to Chelsea. They're coming away with the wins. Well, what else can you say? So Chelsea now sitting in 8th position on 7 points, and Bournemouth now in 11th position with 5 points. Okay, now to the Sunday fixtures. Wolverhampton Wanderers against... that was a game where I believe I said that it was going to be a tight game. I think I said, I'm pretty sure I said it was going to be a Wolves home win. Whilst the form would favour Newcastle, I kind of thought it would go the other way. That's egg on my face. But well done, Newcastle United, come away with a 2-1 win. You've got to be feeling great about the season so far. You've got to be feeling great about the players that are playing and how Eddie Howe is getting them to play with the tactics he's employing so far. If you're a Wolves fan, probably starting to get a little bit worried now under Gary O'Neill. As I said, similar to Southampton with Russell Martin. As I said in my managerial sacking predictions video, Russell Martin, I said, is going to be an increasing pressure, and also Gary O'Neill if they don't get the results. And now we're 4 games in, Southampton without a point, and Wolves only with a solitary point. So already we're starting to see Wolves, Southampton and Everton starting to get in trouble at the foot of the table. So they really got to turn this around already. But I thought Wolves would come away with a home win, home advantage. But Newcastle, no, they did great stuff there. So Newcastle now in 3rd position on 10 points. Great stuff. And Wolves 3rd from bottom with only 1 point. But the biggest game of the weekend, of course, was Tottenham at home to Arsenal on Sunday afternoon. And a bit of a dull affair, really. I thought it wasn't a great game to watch. Arsenal were sound, were defensively good. Tottenham didn't really look like they had a bit of a clue going forward as well. So it wasn't anything to get the juices flowing, as it were, in terms of entertaining football. However, it's quite intriguing from a tactics point of view, but also we see the deficiencies on Tottenham's side and the advantages on the Arsenal side. I just think collectively Arsenal got better players in their team over Spurs, and it kind of showed. Even though they were missing a couple of players, Odegaard and Rice, of course, through suspension and injury. Of course, the overall they were a better outfit, and Gabriel with that header from the corner. Yeah, a lot of criticism against the Spurs goalkeeper for not coming to collect that as well. But Ange Postecoglou is under pressure. He's under pressure from his own fans. He's under pressure from football pundits and other fans as well, who can see that they started great last season under Ange Postecoglou, and that hasn't really continued on, and now they're kind of starting to see, well, there's lots of deficiencies in the way they're playing as well. But now Arsenal, with that victory, are sitting in 2nd position on 10 points behind Manchester City, of course, and Spurs are 13th on 4 points as well, so a mid-table mediocrity as well. So not a great start already. I know we're only 4 games in. I know there's a lot to go, but you can start to see patterns developing already, and you start taking form, and you take the likes of Man City just trying to running away with it. You take the likes of Liverpool, where they've suddenly dropped points. You take the likes of Arsenal, who dropped points but who have regained their composure, as it were. Then you take the likes of the bottom 3, who are just, you can't even buy a point, you can't even buy a goal in some cases. Well, Everton can buy goals, but they're not getting the result. Then all of a sudden you're starting to see patterns and results, and this affects momentum. As I said, player psychology, fan psychology, but the club as a whole as well. So you can already start to see it even only after 4 games, and it'd be very interesting to see over the next few games what's going to happen as well. But that's a roundup of the results from week 4 of the English Premier League. I got 70% right, I would say, but most of the results were, off the mark. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you think your team is doing so far? How they've started? If you're a Newcastle fan, I would say you're very happy. If you're an Everton fan, I would say you are not happy at all. Tissues for those tears, I'd say. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now. So third round of the League Cup, the corrupt League Cup, kicks off this Tuesday night. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to the S1E12. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So third round of the League Cup starts tomorrow night. You've got Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then next week it's again Tuesday and Wednesday night for the second half of the league. And there's lots of fixture congestion right now because of the Champions League that's starting off and Europa League starting off as well, and the teams involved in those competitions, of course. Now, I made my feelings perfectly clear about the League Cup and the way they allowed the top teams, let's say, who finished top in the league to get a bye, but also to have preferential seeding. And I think it's match fixing or fixture fixing, I would say. But listen, I could go on and on about this, and I'm sure you can too, based upon the response that I had on that video as well. But let's just get into the third round here. So fixtures on Tuesday night. You got Stoke against Fleetwood Town. You got to be looking at a Stoke win there. Blackpool against Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, I mean, Blackpool just got a win at the weekend and a new manager, Steve Bruce, as well. But I'm going to go for a Sheffield Wednesday win on that one. Brentford at home to the O's, Leyton Orient. I'll go for a Brentford win on that one. Everton against Southampton. That'll be an interesting game because they're both struggling at the bottom of the table there. So, yeah, interesting. I would imagine that Everton are going to come on top on this one, but because they're the one that was scoring goals at the moment. Whilst they're losing matches, they're scoring goals. Preston North End at home to Fulham. I'm going to go for a Fulham away win there. QPR at home to Crystal Palace. That'd be an interesting one. Interesting one. QPR got a decent result at the weekend. Last minute result there as well. But yeah, I'm going to go for a cheeky QPR home win on that one. And Manchester United at home to Barnsley. Well, do you know what? There could be an upset here, but I'll go for a Man United win on that one. On Wednesday night, you got Brighton at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Again, decent game here, but I would favour Brighton at home on this one. Again, they did stutter slightly against Ipswich Town at the weekend in the Premier League, and Wolves obviously lost to Newcastle. But as I say, I'm going to go for a Brighton home win on this one. And the last fixture is Coventry. It's pretty decent against Spurs. Spurs away to Coventry. Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised with an away win for Tottenham, but I'll tell you what, this might be quite close. So interesting games for Wednesday night. The following week on Tuesday the 24th, we continue with the third round of the League Cup. We've got AFC Wimbledon at home to Newcastle. You've got to be looking at a Newcastle away win there, haven't you? Chelsea at home to Barrow. Again, Chelsea, you've got to be looking at a home win there. And again, this is where I just totally disagree with the preferential treatment that the top teams got for last season as well. I just don't agree with this at all. Man City at home to Watford. Again, you've got to be looking at a Man City win there, but Watford are doing great this season in the Championship, so it might be an interesting game, that one. That might be the game to watch, actually. Walsall at home to Leicester City. I'd be looking at Leicester City win there. But again, Walsall haven't been doing too badly themselves this season. And then the last fixture for Tuesday night is Wycombe Wanderers at home to Aston Villa. Aston Villa, you've got to be looking at an away win here. But again, Wycombe Wanderers haven't been slouchy themselves either. So, yeah, looking for a Villa away win on that one. Now, on the Wednesday night, 25th, there are only two fixtures. And we're looking at Arsenal at home to Bolton Wanderers. Again, you've got to be looking at Arsenal win here, haven't you? And then, well, the other fixture, which, is the only fixture in town, of course, is Liverpool at home to West Ham United. Now, being a West Ham fan, I'm going to say we're going to go up to Anfield and we're going to smash those Reds 6-0. But let's face it, the reality checks in and it's going to be a home win for Liverpool. I'd be very, very surprised if West Ham go up there and get a result. The only way this will get a result if Liverpool put out their kids, the players who don't play with each other on a regular basis, and then West Ham put out a first team. That's the only chance that I can see of West Ham winning there. On this fixture, West Ham were kind of first out the pot, so they should have been a home fixture for West Ham. But because they drew against Liverpool, and Liverpool were already guaranteed a home fixture in this third round, this is where the match fixing or the fixture fixing comes into play for me. This is where I disagree with it. So listen, it's stacked in Liverpool's favour. I expect a Liverpool win. I'm hoping for a West Ham win, but unless Liverpool just put out kids or a B team, I really can't see it. Obviously, Liverpool coming off the loss against Nottingham Forest for the weekend. So look, West Ham could do it, but I'd be surprised. But you never know. So there we go. That's the roundup predictions for the League Cup in the next couple of weeks. Again, totally against the competition really now. It's totally against the way they formatted this, given the top teams from the previous season to give them a bye, but also give them preferential fixtures. I just totally disagree with it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell for all future videos, and I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Ta-da! Is Julian Lopetegui, West Ham manager, under pressure right now? Well, the fans certainly think so. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to me, Edson. I hope you're all well. So, after West Ham's inglorious defeat to Chelsea at the weekend, 3-0, many of the fans, West Ham fans, are kind of questioning the appointment of Julian Lopetegui and also the way they're playing as well. Now, conversely, there are many fans, like myself, who say, well, look, it's still too early to tell. But it's not looking great right now. Now, the decision to move away from David Moyes and go with a new manager was based upon really the quality of the football, the entertainment factor. And we're hopeful that Julian Lopetegui would come in and galvanise the team, bring in new players, and get us playing a different style of football, a more attractive and entertaining type of football, but also come away with some results and give us hope for the future and build upon good quality football to get results and hopefully start challenging for European positions as well. So Lopetegui came in, brought lots of players in the summer, and it's been a very indifferent start to the season. Now, many West Ham fans would remember a few years ago when Manuel Pellegrini became West Ham manager and there was a big summer spending spree of transfers. Everybody was hopeful in the West Ham faithful, and I was one of those, and I was waxing lyrical about all the players that we'd signed and how well we were going to do, or we should do. Then a few months later, Pellegrini was out. He was sacked because of our dismal performances. And we had to get David Moyes back in to save the day. Oh, wow, great. Now, in all fairness, yes, David Moyes did bring us success in the Conference League. Of course he did, fantastic. But it was the quality of the football, especially in the league, that let him down and let us down as well. Hopeful for Lopetegui to come in and change this and change the way West Ham were playing. Now, I make this video because there are other managers, which I've already talked about in a previous video, that are under similar kind of pressure. Gary O'Neill, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Russell Martin at Southampton, Eric Ten Hag, yes, granted, got a couple of results recently, but still under pressure. Sean Dyche, of course, at Everton, whilst he got a point at the weekend, still there, still under pressure. Lopetegui now enters this mix. He enters this mix because of indifferent performances. Should have lost against Fulham last weekend and got a last-minute equaliser. Not really impressive against many of the other teams. Came up against Man City and didn't even try and put their defence under a pressure, even with any kind of long ball tactics as well. Man City play with long ball every now and again. So why can't teams like West Ham go against Man City and play the long ball every now and again, try and turn their defence and put them under pressure? There was nothing like that. We were assuming that Lopetegui would come in, or I was assuming that Lopetegui would come in and play a varied style of football, maybe based on possession as well, but also be able to change it up and have in-game management or change in-game tactics according to the opposition as well. He's come in and he's making substitutions, whereas David Moyes didn't.
But some of those substitutions have been questionable. You're taking off players that are performing quite well and leaving players on the pitch who are underperforming as well. So the questions are being asked there. Then you're looking at leaky defence and a group of players that just don't seem to be energised in any way, shape or form. Coupled with a few injuries and underperforming players all over the pitch, all of a sudden you've got a recipe for disaster. Now, is it all doom and gloom? Well, no. We're only 5 games in, of course. It's a bit too early to tell. It's a bit too premature to start getting out the pitchforks and lighting the torches, of course. But at the same time, 5 games in, 4 points on the board, 1 win, 1 draw. 1 was a lucky draw, so you've basically got 1 win to your name. And the rest of the performances haven't been great at all. You go up against Chelsea, supposed to be a London derby, didn't feel like a London derby at all. There didn't seem to be any passion there, any kind of appreciation. This is your bitter rivals, as it were. You need somebody in there, in that team, in that squad, to just make the rest of the players fully understand what it means to play for a Premier League, an English Premier League, but also when you got bitter rivals, what it actually means as well. And maybe there's a problem with the coaching staff as well, because they don't fully understand this as well. And certainly with the players as well. There just seems to be something lacking this season. And perhaps this is what happens when you get a manager and a group of coaches and a group of players who are just not in sync with each other. The players will just run around like headless chickens, wide open through midfield and into defence. It was easy to leak in goals. They just weren't energised, they weren't running around, they weren't chasing around enough. And then you've got Lopetegui on the sideline just shouting orders in the first half, and then in the second half just being completely frustrated with it. The players not responding to any of his instructions. So then you question, is the message getting through from Lopetegui and his coaching staff to the players? Are they receiving it? Are they understanding it? And why aren't they responding? So some fans might say, look, you've got to give him time. Some say it's too early to tell. Some were saying, oh, look, bring back Moyes. We should have stuck with Moyes. We shouldn't have stuck with Moyes. We should have gone with a new manager. But is Lopetegui the right manager for West Ham right now? This is the same question that every fan of every club will be asking as soon as they bring in a new manager. Is this new manager the right person? And yes, we still don't know. That's the key thing here. We still don't know. However, on Wednesday night, West Ham go up to Liverpool in the FAL Cup third round. West Ham have to take their first team up there and play their first team and hope that Liverpool play their B, C or D team just to get any kind of result there. If they come away with a result, that might appease the fans, might appease the players a little bit, or give them a little bit more confidence in there as well. But then the weekend, you got Brentford, then you got Tottenham and Manchester United, you got Nottingham Forest as well, Ipswich Town. I mean, these are all tough games for West Ham in the coming weeks. So we could get to Everton, which is the 11th game of the season. That'll be 10 games in, and potentially only have about 4 or 5 points on the board. That's not good enough. So in a previous video when I talked about managers under pressure, I said, well, actually, that's the 10-game mark. That's when you really have to start considering whether this experiment with your new manager is working or not. That's when Lopetegui, for me, is going to be under real pressure. If they haven't picked up enough points in the next few games, and I'm not sure where these points are going to come from, in all fairness, because considering the way they're playing and the opposition that they're going to go up against, unless they turn it around really quickly, unless they suddenly find that magic ingredient, which I don't believe they will be able to find, and then you could find that you're going up against Everton in the 11th game of the season with very few points on the board, most likely in the bottom 3 of the league, and you've got to hope that Everton are still having a nightmare of a season, because if they lose that game or don't come away with a win, then you've got to be thinking, well, it's time for a change. It's time for a change. You've got to do something different. The question here is how much patience the West Ham board going to have with Lopetegui, how much patience are the West Ham fans going to have with the board as well, because it's all well and good saying you've got to support your team, and you do support your team, you do support the manager, but it's also about a rate of return. Support is based upon a rate of return as well, and you've got to be able to see something in your club that you think, well, we're paying all this money to come and see you, we're paying all this money to support you, we as a club, we've spent millions and millions and millions. There's got to be something there where the manager has to prove himself and has to show a set of statistics, points on the board, points in the table to say, look, this is how we're doing. We're doing quite well. And if you're at 10 games in the season, you've only got 4 or 5 points on the board, that's not good enough. You're failing. That's an F. That's an F on the scorecard, I'm afraid. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again in another video coming very soon. Bye now.
So week 5 of the English Premier League is done and dusted. Here are the results. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Ed's Son. Hope you're all well. So this is week 5, the results, a review of the games. And well, first of all, my predictions were totally way off. I was quite confident going into week 5 of the results, not necessarily the scorelines, but the results. But I actually did a quick calculation. I was on 30%, which is not really good enough, really. So 3 out of 10 games I got right. A couple of scores I got absolutely right. But apart from that, it was a bit of a bad week for me. So let's just get into the first game of the weekend, the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday, West Ham versus Chelsea. I was predicting 1-1, and we know it ended up in a 3-0 defeat to Chelsea. They wiped the floor, West Ham, pretty much. It was a pretty poor display from West Ham. Lots of questions being asked. But hey, Chelsea just go from strength to strength. Now, I'm not saying Chelsea are flattering to deceive or anything like that, but West Ham made it really easy for them as well. So a lot of work to do for West Ham. And, well, Chelsea just keep on marching on, don't they? So that leaves Chelsea in 5th on 10 points and West Ham United in 14th with 4 points. Okay, next game, Aston Villa 3-1 against Wolves. I predicted this absolutely right, 3-1 as well. Wolves took the lead and Aston Villa came back and, wow, just another triumphant display from them. Wolves are going to be feeling hard done by. Gary O'Neill, the manager, is going to come under increasing pressure now. So not good for them, but fantastic for Aston Villa once again. Aston Villa now up to 3rd on 12 points and Wolves just sitting at the bottom of the table on a solitary point. Okay, next we have Fulham against Newcastle. I was predicting a 2-1 win for Newcastle. I thought they had some goals in them, but I wasn't underestimating Fulham as well. And guess what? Fulham came away with a 3-1 win as well. Totally convincing display, really bossed the game. And yeah, both teams had chances, but Fulham came away with the 3 points and very well deserved too. Fulham up to 9th in 8 points and Newcastle sitting pretty in 6th with 10 points. Next, Leicester against Everton. I was predicting a Leicester 2-1 win. It ended up a 1-1 draw. Again, Everton took the lead. They were holding that lead for quite a while and then Leicester managed to equalise as well. So again, at least Everton are scoring goals. At least they're not losing now. They've got a point. So this could be the start of some kind of momentum for Everton. They would hope, of course. But Leicester, yeah, they could kind of feel that they should do a little bit better, especially at home and especially against a struggling Everton as well. Leicester now in 15th on 3 points and Everton 19 on 1 point. Now next, Liverpool at home to Bournemouth. I predicted 3-0 and it was indeed a 3-0 win for Liverpool. Another emphatic display from them, especially after their midweek outing in Milan. So they did really, really well here. And yeah, Bournemouth are struggling slightly, but Liverpool just keep on marching on. Liverpool now in 2nd on 12 points and Bournemouth now in 13th on 5 points. Okay, the next game, Southampton at home to Ipswich Town. I was predicting an Ipswich Town 1-0 win, but I think I was also saying this could easily be a draw as well. I thought it was going to be a tight affair and it ended up being a 1-1 draw. So both teams coming away with some points there and a well-deserved point, you would say, for Ipswich Town being the newbies to the Premier League. Of course, Southampton will come up as well, but they've got more recent experience in the Premier League. Ipswich Town just sitting above the relegation zone in 17th on 3 points and Southampton just one below them, 18th on 1 point. Now the next game, Spurs at home to Brentford. I was predicting a 2-1 away win for Brentford based on their current form or their recent form. But no, Spurs proved me wrong again. They come away with a 3-1 win and quite a convincing win at that. So Tottenham now in 10th on 7 points and Brentford 12th on 6 points. And now for the evening kickoff on Saturday, Crystal Palace at home to Manchester United. I was predicting an away win for Manchester United based on their last 2 results and the emphatic win they got in midweek. I thought there might be some goals in there. I was predicting a 3-1 away win for Manchester United, but it ended up being a 0-0 draw. They sort of cancelled each other out. So not good for either team, really. So Manchester United, well, they probably feel that they should have done better. And yeah, they could have done better. They went close quite a few times as well. But Crystal Palace hung in there and they came away with a draw, so well done to them. Manchester United now in 11th on 7 points. Crystal Palace in 16th on 3 points. Okay, to the Sunday fixtures. First of all, Brighton at home to Nottingham Forest. I thought there would be goals in this game. I thought these two would be quite evenly matched. I went for a 2-2 draw, and guess what? I got that one right. Finally, I get a result absolutely right. So it was indeed a 2-2 draw on Sunday for both teams. And yeah, it was a great game to watch, really entertaining as well. So well done
them, both teams, for putting on some entertainment as well. And both teams keep on marching on. Brighton now sitting in 7th on 9 points, and just below Nottingham Forest in 8th on 9 points as well. But the game of the weekend, as we know, on Sunday afternoon, the 4:30 kickoff was Manchester City at home to Arsenal, and Manchester City took the lead. Who else? By Erling Haaland. But then Arsenal came back and were leading 2-1 for most of the game. They got the send-off before half-time. They spent the whole second half pretty much down to 10 men, and also backs to the wall, parking the bus pretty much, 6 at the back, 3 in the middle, and it was just, they almost held on, but then Man City equalised just with John Stones just in a few minutes added on as well, only seconds to spare. So Manchester City got a point. Arsenal probably feel aggrieved that they just couldn't hold on to the point. But again, it wasn't really the result that was coming into question. Once again, it was a question of refereeing decisions and inconsistency in these refereeing decisions as well. And why an Arsenal player was sent off, but a Manchester City player wasn't sent off for doing something similar as well. Again, a lot to answer for the referees, in my opinion. If you're going to go by the book in some games, you've got to go by the book on all games. Otherwise, it is a complete farce as well. But let us know your thoughts on that. So with that result, Manchester City now sitting pretty at the top of the table on 13 points, and Arsenal now in 4th position on 11 points. So overall, a great weekend of football again, some cracking games, some high-scoring games as well, lots of goals, plenty of goals in lots of games, but my predictions were absolutely woeful, just like my prediction on the boxing as well, pretty woeful there as well. But as I say, 30% on predictions, not really good enough. Aim to do better in the next round, so I'll catch you again on the next video very, very soon. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for future videos. Ta-ra now. Okay, week 6 of the English Premier League. Here are my predictions. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Edson. I hope you're all well. So this is week 6 of the English Premier League, and there's been some cracking games already this season with some interesting results already. And the table just starting to shuffle into some interesting positions as well. But this is week 6. Let's get on with it with the first game. So the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday is Newcastle United at home to Manchester City. Is this going to be an away win for Manchester City or a glorious home win for Newcastle United? I'm going to go for an away win for Manchester City. I'm going to go for a 3-1 away win. I think Newcastle dropped the ball last weekend, and also I think Manchester City are going to feel slightly hard done by that they didn't do better against a 10-man Arsenal as well. They're going to be hoping to increase their lead at the top of the table, so 3-1 to Manchester City. Now, 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday, Arsenal at home to Leicester City. Again, I can't see anything but an Arsenal win here, but I'm going to go for a 3-1 home win for Arsenal. Next game on Saturday is Brentford at home to West Ham United, my team of course, but the way Brentford have been playing, especially the way West Ham are playing, I really can't see anything but a Brentford home win. But I'll tell you what, I think there might be a little bit of a reaction from the West Ham team this week, and I think maybe Brentford might still be licking their wounds after their result last weekend as well. Although it's a home fixture for Brentford and West Ham haven't fared too well over there in the last few seasons, I'm going to go for a away win for West Ham United, a 1-0 win. Next, this will be a spicy affair. Chelsea at home to Brighton Hove Albion. Who's going to come out on top here? I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw here. I don't think there's a lot between these sides, especially the way Brighton have been playing. Whilst they were in a draw last weekend with Nottingham Forest, they're a very decent outfit. As I say, I do rate Brighton a lot, and I've also do rate Chelsea as well, especially the way they demolished West Ham last weekend. So but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this game. And the next game, Everton at home to Crystal Palace. The stalling Everton against the indifferent Crystal Palace. Both similar positions in the league. Crystal Palace doing slightly better, of course. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game. 1-1 draw. And the last 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday is Nottingham Forest at home to Fulham. Both going great guns right now. Nottingham Forest get a great 2-2 draw last weekend against Brighton, of course. Fulham getting that 3-1 win at home
home to Newcastle United. But in this game, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Nottingham Forest. And the Saturday evening game, 5:30 kickoff, Wolves at home to Liverpool. Unfortunately, struggling Wolves at the foot of the table. I can't see any joy here for Gary O'Neill's team, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win for Liverpool. Now, Sunday hosts the pick of the bunch, really. But first of all, at 2 o'clock, it's Ipswich Town at home to Aston Villa. And whilst Ipswich Town have had some decent results of late and picked up some points, I can't see anything but an Aston Villa win here. I'm going to go for a 3-0 away win for Aston Villa. But the biggie at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon is Manchester United at home to Tottenham Hotspur. Manchester United didn't do too great against Crystal Palace last time out, although they had 2 previous great results. Spurs surprised me with their win against Brentford as well. So I've got to say, I'm favouring a Tottenham away win here. So I'll go for a Tottenham 2-1 away win at Manchester United. So there we go. Those are my Week 6 match predictions for the English Premier League. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what your predictions are. And of course, if you think that I've got these predictions completely wrong and your prediction is going to be factual, then please let me know in the comments below, because obviously you know something that I don't. But as I say, I really should be doing better than 30%, which was absolutely shocking. But I'm hopeful I'll get it above 60% this weekend, which I don't think is a bad return, really. But hopefully most of my predictions will come true, at least if the results come true and not necessarily the scorelines. That's what I'll be after. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell for all future videos, and I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.